Ready. But not as ready as the others.
Did you click your icon first?
No. I should have.
Oh.
There
is nothing there to click.
There we go.
Oh, our allies over here.
So, most recently in our adventures, you all conversated with Aranel, Tenufea Loonsong, about a couple things, then invited both her and her husband, Maethros, to Jiri's upcoming play in the Moondrop's Cradle. That's about a week away. You continued pursuing various interests the following day, tidying up business, and then headed to the Elealor ruins west of the city, where Minerva and other diplomats and scholars have started taking interest in that space and studying it as soon as it is available. And one of the structures was unable to be explored by them, as the entry was barred until Tobirama followed the celestial instructions to sing to the preserver's name, at which point the runic inscriptions unlocked the doors and allowed you into an old ballroom. Not too terribly damaged to the wares of time, but a little dilapidated. And as you started moving around and got closer to some of the stained glass windows, various stained glass golem defenders broke out of them and assaulted you all. However, you cleared the space of that threat, and when they were destroyed, they knitted back into the windows seamlessly. And upon closer inspection, between, I think, Roulette and Toby, you sort of bound them to new masters yourselves with a brand new command word, so that they can defend this location at your guidance. And then you explored the buildings, found various guest suites, made a relief of Kelemvor's symbol in one of them from Tobirama. There is a sort of astrarium atop the building with a 360-degree balcony, some dining rooms, etc., which this abode could be used by you all as a new abode within Ithilwinge territory, should you wish. But that will need to be made clear and or have resources devoted to it to some degree, and maybe tiers of expenses per benefits you want to gain will be possible over time. But right now, it is about the afternoon of Sundas, the 26th of Sun's Dusk, effectively November 26th. And based on the time frame you all have indicated to me for spending downtime amongst the Mooncrest Elvish people, Jiri's play will occur in 1 week from today on Sundas, the 3rd of Evening Star, effectively December 3rd. So theoretically, you have a week of downtime before that happens, and then in theory, you leave soon thereafter, even as much as the following day, to escort Kinsalo back south to his people at Kilodine. So unless there's any alterations to that timeline, you all have the following week to pursue any downtime activities you want to, in addition to practicing and rehearsing your roles for Jiri's play. So you guys can feel free to RP through any conversations you want to have with each other or other NPCs. But otherwise, it might make most sense to just kind of tackle one by one what you guys want to spend your time on. Does anyone want to go first, or would you prefer to handle things differently?
I have no qualms.
Are we going to do everybody's week, or should we do like a few days? That way, if there's like any interaction.
That can work, yeah.
I don't know.
That can work. Easy enough. And it'll be kind of vague at ease as well. For example, Roulette. If we start with you, for example, what do you begin to spend the next week of downtime on? There will be time to adapt and shift routes if you need to or want to, but at least over the first several days, what do you mostly put your work toward?
I will bid farewell to the group and let them know that I'm going to not the Moon Forge, I forget what it's called, the
Nightfall Forge.
Nightfall Forge. I will be spending time at the Nightfall Forge, just and making sure it's okay with them that I do some work there, either on Alfie or on other projects. The very first day, I want to spend time with the flask, the ever-flowing flask or whatever the hell it's called. And I want to work on attempting to make it mimic my runic pairing thing that I did before to functionally make it go from an action to a bonus action.
I see.
I think, or whatever. I forget what I had said with Tim originally. Tim, was that it? We want to go from bonus action to an action or object interaction?
Interact with an object.
Basically,
So that I can, in the same turn, interact with it and then shoot it as a bonus action.
yeah.
Got it. Effectively easing the amount of interaction necessary to open the flask. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. I will say, you think this could be relatively doable in, let's say, half a day. You estimate that.
Yeah.
However, if it doesn't succeed and it requires more of your time, you might be threatening your 6 or 7 days remaining of work necessary on your other project, unless you gather help from other people to help that work move faster. So I just want to make that clear. You have essentially, we'll go through a check, see how successful you are. And if you don't like the results of that check, you can choose to devote more time to that or pause work on that and move to other priorities. But I just want that check to kind of determine how successful that starts.
Yeah, this is definitely top of the list for things I just want to bang out as quickly as possible.
Cool. This is almost, in my opinion, akin to enchanting with a combination of tinkering as well. I think for this, I would like, go ahead and make a persuasion check, which may affect amount of gold resources needed to put into the arcane tinkering, and then we'll have you make a tinkering check to see how successful that is.
I was like trying to persuade the flask. Come on, flask.
No, persuasion to just see generally, or it could be general charisma, which might be for you. But this will just depend on, hey, how many resources are needed to buy? Okay, so with the 7, people are not quite sure what kind of arcane sequences you're trying to pull off here. It's a fairly un-arcane place, and unfortunately you have to spend as much as 50 gold, but that will encompass the enhancement of this potential item.
Easy peasy, I got it.
Jerry will obviously pay you the 50 gold.
I will let you, don't deduct it yet. I will let you know about it later.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, go ahead and make a tinkering check.
Okay. I'm just
which I believe for you is a convoluted amount of numbers, so I might need your help getting through this. But
I'm gonna run through it. Enhance ability, because I've had that stocked forever. So it's advantage. My Smith's Companions is a +1. Flash of Genius is a +4, and then my tool expertise from Artificer is PB ×2. So it's a D20 plus 11 at advantage.
Okay. Okay, go for it.
So I'm just rolling 2 D20s plus 11 to the higher one. 29.
Yes, 29. You successfully are able to, over the course of half a day, alter the decanter of endless water, a relatively easy adjustment. On something more intensely arcane, this might have gone differently, but this is a simple enough ordeal so that the flask opening up can now be done as an interact with object.
Beautiful.
Success number 1.
I will hold on to that. I have the only 2 other things I have. One is working on Alfie as a project, getting as much time as possible in there. To your note earlier, potentially seeing if either I could snag Minerva or one of the what the fuck are they called? They're called Moonforge.
The Moonsmiths work at the Nightfall Forge, sure.
The Moonsmiths for potential assistance on Alfie's project, and then the day before the play, I want to catch Rome, but we can do that towards the end of the week.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a who are you prioritizing asking, Minerva or Moonsmiths for aid?
Probably Minerva, because
Okay.
I also wanted to ask her about the spell specialization or customization stuff that she had mentioned. So I wanted to ask her about that and to see if she had any insight or wanted to potentially give assistance for Alfie's upgrade.
Perfect. Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll again to see if you're able to compel her away from her scholarly interest in the ruins.
How can I get advantage on this? I'm not. Well, we're just gonna straight roll it. Go with the fates.
Well, if you
I'll bump it up to a 13 with another thing.
you can
Even with a 13, it is a difficult challenge to pry Minerva away from such fodder for analysis and scholarly pursuit, such as the ruins. However, she is eager to talk with you on spellcraft, and you can discuss with her at the ruins or when she's in town. Have those conversations where she can give insight, but she's not able to devote time toward helping you tinker arcanely at this time. That being said, do you want to try the Moonsmiths then?
Yeah, and I don't need to, because I like pie in the sky would be cutting it in half. I want to just be able. I think I have like 7.5 days left. I know in my project, and I want to just be able to get it done in like 6.5. So any menial tasks that I could get assistance
Sure.
on is what I'm looking for.
I would say with that sort of request, if you wanted them to work on it the whole week with you or to double your efficiency, it might require a role, but to have a little help throughout that space that you're already occupying throughout the week is no problem. So they will be able to aid your efforts in there. It'll still take the full gold amount necessary, which I don't know if we've gone over specifically. That is interesting, but there will be a gold component of this upgrade. However, we can tackle that later. For now, I would like you to, after a couple days, we'll say 6 days, go ahead and make your roll. And as usual, this is kind of a combination between tinkering and arcana, enchanting. So this could have slightly different results based on like a nat 1 or a medium threshold or a nat 20, for example. Those could alter how the enchantment kind of takes hold into your intent.
And I think I'm just running through the same things. It's advantage for enhanceability because I did at least half the days.
Yes.
Smith's Companion is a +1, Flash Genius +4, and then +6. So it's another pair of D20s.
Jesus, damn.
+11.
Your tinkering is nuts.
1 and a 2.
I'm like, ouch.
Yes.
Wow. This is the second time now that you've done a custom project and got a nat 20 on.
Or let's be doubles.
Experience somewhere feels a little burst of speed.
Your project, as we have discussed, goes without a hitch. The functionality of the reaction is as we've discussed and as you expect. I believe in prior conversations, not recent ones we've had, we had determined that there would be an amount of charges available for use on this and another spell that was being baked into your creation as well. I can text you some of this after so that we can get on the same page. Yeah. But in addition to what I understand to be the case, per the nat 20, we'll say this brings an additional unintended charge with it. So we can go over specifics after this, but your project is extremely successful.
I don't remember what the spell was that you're mentioning.
That's I can say it right now, or we can text about it. But
text me real fast before the end of the session.
Sure.
That's yeah. So towards the end of the week, I want to catch Rome, probably like the day before the play. But and then I want to, I guess, does the Moonset Grove have an owlry of sorts? Telperion, is there somewhere I can mail a letter from?
There is. Let's go ahead and bring us to the thing here. I actually don't know if I've ever added it to the map. I might not have added it, but there is a an aviary. However, it is primarily trained. They've primarily trained their birds to go back and forth between the capital of Ostennis, which is very rarely ever used,
Yeah.
all of their sister cities within the Emerald Forest, and no locations in Chimeras,
Okay.
or Belladonna. So it's just their resources are different because of their kind of seclusion as a culture.
I will. I'll have that letter ready to go for whenever we leave the Moonside Grove. And then also, I'm going to. This is a small, stupid thing. I'm gonna throw 75 silver during the entire Alfie process to just like give him highlights.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
very
I'm
cool.
just melting down the silver to like give him a nice trim.
Probably helps with the sort of wizards use magically infused inks for their spellcasting. It's almost in line with your enchanting efforts that help contain some of the magic. So beautiful.
I am done.
Cool. Well, anyone else still welcome? You're welcome to jump in on other people's things if you wanted to have conversations, and vice versa. But we'll move to the next person. Who wants to go next?
Not me.
That's not a raising of your hand.
No.
To get called on. I think I've got my stuff lined up.
Cool. Let's do it.
So I have already put out word to, House Meyerlight, and like that there were still things there I was hoping to help with. I understood they wanted their privacy, but I just had that kind of open offer. So if that comes up at some point during the week, happy to do that.
Sure.
I've also got
Can I chime in?
Yeah.
I also had expressed interest with you personally and going with you to make sure you kind of got what Telperion thinks you're due. So just loop me in if something, blah, blah, blah. Great.
Okay. And Toby is on call for any sendings the council want me to help them with. And then those are kind of the two big things. And then in his own time, Toby's going to be spending time really spicing up his little Kelimvor room, intending to make it into a shrine. I've got some good... how much ruby? Okay, I've got a good bit of ruby. So I was planning on doing like 2 continual flame braziers in there, but the flame would be black or like gray. Maybe that's me like weaving in some thaumaturgy as I'm casting it.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah.
Along with some stone shaped to add in reliefs and like iconography and decorations and details, and then like a big like what is it, like a font for water. And I'll spend I think probably all of my powdered silver except for 25 that I need to save. So like 5 castings of ceremony I would think would be able to fill up kind of a font with holy water.
Do you have does the spell, I could look it up, but does the spell ceremony denote how much is created with that, or how much can be anointed?
It is a vial of water and cause it to become holy water. I don't know how loose the size of a vial can be.
Yeah, that's what my thought would be, is a vial is probably similar to like a potion vial. So like with 5 castings of that, to me that fills a small bowl.
Okay.
But not like a large like baptismal font.
Yeah, and
I
don't even want it to be like a grand thing. I just want it to be there and functional as a place where we can have some holy
Does
water
that
there.
ever run out? Or like, does the anointing of it, does it ever fade and become regular water?
There's nothing that specifies that.
Okay.
I also
so
have
yes,
2
absolutely.
made up flasks, so let's call it 7 to get a somewhat sizable little font of holy water in there.
Okay.
And then
Very
lastly,
doable.
I just want to spend some time going around the new house of ours with some detect magic up and detect good and evil up, and just see what kind of readings I get from our house, and maybe if I find something cool, be like, hey Roulette, do you want to take a look at this? Or I can try and puzzle it out myself.
Sure. As you walk around, you detect no good and evil per se. That doesn't alarm you or alert you necessarily, as even good intentioned people occupying a space still don't usually give off particularly good in a kind of celestial godly sense. However, you are often flagged with just like almost like, I feel like we always come back to mist with you, but as you walk around the space and detect magic, not only do the stained glass windows glow very brightly with them having been enchanted with animate objects kind of permanently bound to them, but everywhere amongst the Lairlore ruins, there's like flecks of almost like particulate gold just suspended in the air when you cast detect magic, as the entire place is protected by mythal magic, and you see traces of its signature virtually everywhere you walk. And there are other spaces throughout the Lairlore ruins that have various magical locks, rituals, things like that of that nature, but in the space you guys identified, primarily just the stained glass windows are the real magical thing of note.
I would imagine holy water maybe gives off a faint glow.
That's true. With the detect good and evil, yeah, that's probably true.
Also, I'm looking at detect evil and good. I know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of me. Would at any point I get a ping off of Rome from seeing her about the house?
If you walk near Rome, Rome will trigger your she lights up almost as if when you come within 30 feet of her, she just suddenly begins to glow, and as you step away from her, she fades back down to her normal visage, but very clearly is exuding some version of signature from what that spell detects.
Awesome. Yeah, so that the only other thing is just if the Aranil or the court call upon me to send any messages, or if Meyer Lights, send me back a thing saying,
sure,
we would love if you would come by.
So first, let's cover the sendings. If there are any very specific sendings you would like to send, please let me know. However, the rest of the sendings over the course of this week, which the Aranil herself and other council members will eagerly and thankfully have you conduct on their behalf, are not juicy in the classical sense of new information being learned, but you're reaching out to Beast King Mordecai, you're reaching out to Harold Keatra of Kilodine, you even reach out to Alaya, who once again gives sort of a hushed and hurried sort of understanding, but very little information back, but seems to be acknowledging the fact that, hey, there's this effort going on to in some way come to Creatia's aid. But it's almost the beginning correspondence of what will begin to be a moot in the near future, where Beast King Mordecai, the Herald, perhaps Lord Severin, the other head of Chimeras down in the south, as well as the Mooncrest Council and the Aranil, will need to meet and discuss, hey, are we going to be allies? This is a big deal that we can't just casually go along with. There's not trust that has been deeply earned yet. So those correspondence happen over the course of this week with your aid.
Gotcha.
So a moot will be put together in the near future. Then for Meyer Lights, I would like you to please make a persuasion check with advantage because of your actions for their family specifically.
Would there be, I specifically tried to have borrowed knowledge prepared for this week. Is there any way that could play in, do you think? Just giving me
I actually don't know that I want to allow it. Your advantage comes from how critical you were to bringing him Ezrin back. Mm-hmm. The proficiency is less of, yes, you could get proficient with eloquence of language within like a written letter to their house, but I think this isn't really a matter of proficiency.
As individual of a task that's being checked here, I imagine. 20 is the difficult DC you needed to hit for this.
So after a time, you send a letter with maybe Telperian's aid or maybe the stamp of approval of someone in Nightlamp Palace even, and Mirelight Estate responds midway through the week saying, we will entertain an audience with Toby Rama should you arrive at their estate.
Yes, I would also alert Telperian when I'm planning to go. And then, yeah, I'd if they respond with a time, I'd go when they ask. If not, I'd probably go as soon as possible after they affirmed my request.
Which they do, and they do not give a specific date, so you're welcome to go at your leisure with Telperian in tow, if that is what you wish. Mm-hmm. This, I think, is maybe a little bit more worthy of some RP involved. But should you both walk together and arrive at Mirelight Estate, the Enalaran embassy, Selethar greet you when you walk up their stone steps, and upon showing them Mirelight's letter, you gain entrance and are welcomed back into the foyer of a space you have been in before. And should you request for Arethel or Ezrin's company, you will be led through the estate to a specific residence room where both council member or previous council member Arethel Mirelight and his wife are just sitting at the bedside of their son Ezrin. And Ezrin does not appear to be visibly awake right now, but you are welcomed entrance into this space.
Lord Mirelight, I received your letter and was hoping this might be a good time for me to provide some advice or help in reassuring your son's good health.
I do thank you for coming. And you too, Prince. I have turned away many visitors and even council members at their request. I am not willing to indulge the smearing of my son's reputation further from what it already is, but your actions on behalf of my son, I will never forget.
I do also want to emphasize that I was not sent by anyone. I brought the prince along just as he is a good friend of mine, and it just is comforting to have someone I trust around as I hopefully am able to provide some aid. So this is just something that I was a little worried about as we identified the nature of what it was that was corrupting your son. It is rather foul magic, and so he is restored to life, but I would like to do some reassuring of his return to his previous self.
Very well. He is resting, so I would ask that you not be too rough with him. Is it a simple evaluation you seek to complete?
I definitely don't need to wake him for these things. I have 3 castings of magic I intend to do, and I will know if they take hold or not, which, if they don't, I feel I will be reassured that there was nothing for me to have perhaps driven off, and if they do succeed, then I can provide that sense of resolving this issue.
Very well then.
I will get out a flask of water, of holy water, and I will take my thumb and just get a bit of it on his forehead, and then be holding it as I am casting ceremony, specifically doing the ritual of atonement. I have to make a DC 20 wisdom check, insight check. On a successful check, I restore the target to its original alignment, obviously presuming it has changed.
Dang.
So I will try that first.
Very well.
And I'm already proficient, so I don't need to do that. I will cast Enhance Ability on myself for Wisdom.
Okay.
To give me advantage on this.
What?
Enhance Ability is so good.
With a 23, you feel the holy water beneath your thumb on Ezran's forehead immediately evaporate, and then you feel almost a calming of his spirit, even in his sleep. However, you do gain a piece of information with this.
Okay.
That although you have successfully restored his alignment to what it may have previously been, it did not feel to you externally changed.
Sure. And
giving you the information that this individual may have been being used by some other force entity, but was not being entirely puppeted emotionally.
Sure.
A lot of his rage, chaotic anger, let's call it,
from the death of his brother, one might infer.
You have almost given some form of peace to that anger, but his emotions seem to have been entirely his own. But yes, you have successfully cast atonement on him, and you feel the sensation of peace.
And then, in quick succession after that, I will do a lesser restoration and a remove curse casting.
Okay. Both complete. You feel them take purchase on his self, but you're not sure what nature of change may have occurred necessarily. But you feel the magic affect him. I will say the remove curse, you almost feel a rippling, almost telekinetically, of his blood as it seems to shift and move and then calm.
Jesus, this guy was fucked.
And, because I wasn't... Oh, well, the ceremony specifically does take an hour of casting time. But the other two happen probably during or immediately after, and I will step away from Ezran. I do think that was quite beneficial for him. I have, a insufficient knowledge of the current events and past events that have happened here in your culture, but I do know of your son, his brother's death, and it seems that had been very negatively affecting his state of mind, and I think he will find some amount of peace upon waking up.
Was it really him? Was his true mind behind these terrible deeds? Did he say anything in your confrontation? Was there any correspondence on his person? Anything that would give additional insight into his foolish actions?
He was no puppet of the enemy or this foul thing that took hold of him. They drove him to exaggerated actions, and I think it's mainly his anger and his denial of his brother's death hindered his ability to see the folly in what he was pursuing. And after a point, there was kind of no way for him to turn back of his own accord. So I'm glad we were able to stop him, and I hope you will find your son a better man than he had been trending towards upon waking.
Hard to take in sometimes, but thank you for your actions.
I'll step forward at this time. Nyla, I came here with two other purposes in mind. Like Toby mentioned, his purposes were his own, mine are my own. Would you like the service of a crescent knight? I could tell you what he dreams of now. I won't do it if you wish not to know, and I would tell no one outside of this room. But I could try to see what he's dwelling on, which may aid you in caring for him.
Any information I can learn about my son, I feel I should pursue it. I mean to spend the hard-earned hours in the future continuing to work towards learning about him. But yes, if you can glean additional knowledge from his thoughts while he sleeps, especially after having been benefited by Toby Rama's magic, I see the value in that.
So I'll go over.
Careful.
I will be careful and very careful. I care for Ezrin. This is to help him, not harm him. So I'll go over, and it's not really necessary, but just like for, I put my hands like on each side of his head, and I kind of meditate, calm down for a minute, just that center, and then I'll cast Detect Thoughts on him.
You cast Detect Thoughts, and surface thoughts are very muted in his sleep. You get sensations of discomfort, almost grumbling words of frustration, as some emotional turmoil still finds his natural person. But then you probe deeper, I imagine. Okay.
I believe it's 14.
Give him a
14
here. I don't know if I've set a precedent for this in the past, but I'm going to do it with disadvantage because not only is he sleeping and is less likely to push off an invading mind, but also with the restoration Toby just gave him, I'll say he's clearer to read than usual. So we'll do disadvantage here.
Jesus.
And the disadvantage will do it. Disadvantage will do it. You zoom into the mind of Ezrin, and it's almost like you're going back in time. First, you get one of the more recent memories. Him looking into a mirror within the basement of that space you all confronted him in. And you see Vitria standing there through the mirror, and you see the backdrop of a large ballroom that you all have fought within before. You also see at her side the Battle Reeve Cormag, who had stepped through the mirror and that you had fought and slain. This is lending credence to the fact that they seem to be, at least Vitria's, basing out of Ostennis. Then you zoom back into a deeper memory, and you see Ezrin writing with a quill tip, pressing into his journal, but you see blood on the quill tip, not ink, as well as a gash on his arm, sort of down the arm, that was likely the source of that ink.
Gross.
And as he completes writing, it's hard to gain information of what he's writing, so I actually might want to ask you for an investigation check. However, as soon as he completes a series of words, the letters he wrote many, like 20 letters ago, begin to seep into the page and disappear, almost like the book is absorbing his text. So he's always like, 20 letters or spaces ahead of disappearing text. 25.
You gotta think of words now.
Yeah, with that investigation, as you are carefully analyzing his memories, you see the word, well, you see the phrase, "You have stated I am your painmaker, but," and that's the little bit of phrase you get there, which aligns with something a aimless amorphous voice called out when the blood elemental appeared was, "You have failed as my painmaker." And then in a later stanza, you catch another quick glimpse of, "You say Vitria is the same. Will she, in fact, be of aid in my intentions?"
Yes.
Oh my god.
And then the minute completes and you are pulled out of his memories and thoughts, deep thoughts.
I very faithfully relay all that to Arethel, and I give him some background context so he knows who these people are and what they mean to me. And then I will kind of let it sink in, and then I'll ask him, of this, I intend to not implicate Ezrin more than my mother has already decided in the council and all that. Could I give the tactical information I gleaned on Vitria, that she's operating in Ostenis, to the council? Because that could be of much use. And I could, in fact, share that it comes from Ezrin, which I think would increase his reputation back.
Of course, you are welcome to share that information. It likely will benefit our cause and our people. Of course. What was this book he was writing into that was absorbing the text you described?
I think that he has made a pact with a demonic or some kind of entity that gave him power. Painmaker seemed to be an important phrase, and he spoke that name when, we heard the thing, we defeated the thing, whatever it was, this blood entity, and it said, "You have failed to be my painmaker." So I don't know if it is truly dead, but I think it is as expunged from him as anyone can make it. But it was through that connection that he drew power and probably made those mirrors, which implies that Vitria also is involved with this entity.
I did not expect a nat 20 there. Arethel was going through his mind palace to make a history check on the term painmaker. Painmaker. Have you heard any? Was there any reference to the pained mistress?
He spoke the name mistress as well, not pained, but mistress. He said it failed her.
Just one moment. Arethel gets up somewhat hurriedly, walks out of the room, down the hall to a small library den, not a grand one, but the one Ezrin likely would have spent time in. And a few moments later, he returns. The book is gone. There is a tome within our archives that describes of one of the first fallen Eladrin who skirted her divine purpose given to her by Corellin, and in doing so fell into the Shadowfell and was corrupted. Her name, at least in our records, was Leviatar, though she forsook that name when becoming corrupted. It is possible this entity may have indeed been what Leviatar has become, the pained mistress, as she is referred to in our texts. And in alignment with your suggestion, she always designates two individuals, specifically two, to be her disciples, to carry out her will in other worlds. I know not how she managed to find my son, but perhaps he found her if he had taken this tome and her influence. But you said there was no text among the tome. I wonder if they are different.
We have the tome that he wrote in. We collected it as we left, and there's no writing in it. And when he wrote into the tome, the blood absorbed away. So it may be a communication with her. We may need to find something to do with it, destroy it.
Well, perhaps they're one and the same. Perhaps there are different tomes entirely, but that at least gives me some understanding of what might have been the case here.
I wish to leave you to rest, but I would like to make one suggestion. I have found much benefit by leaving the Moonset Grove, and I would recommend you consider, both you, maybe with him or Ezrin alone, consider leaving for a time to see what you might gain. It was by working with other nations that I developed an empathy for these people, which in some ways has been a balm to Ezrin's pain here, I think, although maybe it was hard initially for him. So my mother will likely be seeking elves to volunteer to help liaise with others. I'm not suggesting you go south towards Chimeras, but it could do him good to remove himself from where these harms have been what he's dwelled on for years and years, and give him a mission outside where he not think about his reputation, and come back and share his deeds could bring him acclaim, removing him from the taint of his anger here. Just something to dwell on.
It is hard for me to see a location suitable for travel, considering the warring nation to our north blocks that avenue, and the wildlands to the south are full of individuals that are not yet allies. But I will take your words to heart. Thank you, Prince, and thank you, Toby Rama.
Peace out.
Cool. So you guys are able to complete your adventure to the Mirelite estate, gaining some information. I think that'll complete Toby Rama's downtime. Who wants to go next? Rome or Jiri, maybe?
Go next.
All right, Rome first.
So Rome wants to use her time in growing living spaces in 2 different areas. She wanted to put like half her time into creating that garden in the space of the Emerald Gardens, and then also like create a living space in our new like home.
Yeah, sort of the courtyard right outside the home, or even within and integrated as you see fit. Yeah. You are absolutely able to 6-7 days of downtime is more than enough time for your plant growths and druid crafts and such. So I won't even necessarily require a check for that. You're probably very suited for doing this task. Although I would love to offer some version of a benefit for this. So I'm going to ask you to please make a wisdom check we'll do a nature check for me.
So I'd also like to, I'm going to use plant growth specifically. So I'm assuming that's like in conjunction, this role is in conjunction with that.
Sure. Okay, yeah,
so
I'm thinking of you're able to accomplish your goals successfully regardless of this check. I just want to seize an opportunity to facilitate something. But yeah, go ahead and give me a nature check.
I just rolled it. I don't know if it came through. In D&D Beyond, it's a 10.
Okay, 10 total. Okay. I will say you grow your plants, and amidst them growing, a single bud bursts, and out from it rapidly grows a single dryad leaf, something the party has come into contact with before. A very rare plant piece of flora, a single leaf that has very fey nature bound to it. However, this single budding leaf, you can see it lacking the resources necessary to fully thrive and grow here, unless you pour in some resources to it. Functionally, your check just kind of kept the stasis of your plant growth. You're able to achieve the goals you set out to do. However, if you want, the opportunity now sits before you where if you invest resources in some gold amount, you might be able to foster the growth of actual magical plants here as well that can be utilized for benefits in the future, etc.
Okay, can I have one like side question about this dryad leaf. Would I know like whether or not this dryad leaf would actually produce a dryad, like an actual being, or is it a...
It would not do that. However, you can in D&D Beyond look up dryad leaf in your inventory because it is something that the party has encountered before, but if it is repotted successfully, it can grow into more, but it's a somewhat difficult check. And if it is eaten or consumed or brewed into a potion, it can have various wilderness effects, such as speaking to animals and possibly brewed into potions of speaking with plants and otherwise. So there's tangible benefits that accompany this magical leaf. And should you devote resources to it, that might buy, essentially, with help from people that maintain the Emerald Gardens, might be able to buy you all access to more often being able to gather this plant and use it for other means.
Can I interject? I would, I feel like all of our characters are talking at the end of each day, I would give Rome, I have 2 dry leaves in my inventory that I've collected and hung on to. So if you're interested, Alex, you can have those and you can use them as you wish for these projects.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely take those.
Oh, and just to help you with it, I have once failed to pot a dryad leaf before. Sorry, I'm putting in my contacts. I only have one in. I failed to do it before, so I might give you a tip when we were exchanging them, saying what I did wrong, just to like help you in planting this specific plant. Because Topiary takes good notes on his plants.
Got it.
That is very cool. I will look up a thing. Yeah, go on, Alex.
So I'm gonna kind of like pocket those, and if you don't mind, like I just need a little bit of time to think about how I want to use them.
For sure.
I'm gonna kind of revisit what I had planned on doing in each of the spaces. So I guess I'll start with our like new area that we've been gifted. I wanted to grow using plant growth, a like really large tree that almost like is shaped kind of like into a tree house. Like the way in which it grows will like produce rooms or like atrium sort of areas. And I really want to be very tall so that there were like perches for Consolo and Jiri and Rome now because she can transform into flying creatures. And have this be like a living space, as well as like other like viney plants and like archways and things like that. Like as like, I guess Rome's creating this as like this is a work in progress. This is just like the first part of this area that she plans on like continually working on and improving. But as she's doing this, and this will be the same thing in the other garden as well, is she's also speaking with these plants as she's growing them, because the whole thing with plant growth is that they produce like a like double yield of food.
Yes, more nourished land.
Yeah, or like more well nourished land. So I want like Rome's whole like philosophy, or like part of her philosophy is that like, well, actually, maybe it's not, philosophy is not the right way to describe it, but she wants to like almost educate these plants, like speak to them to like coax them to grow properly and more efficiently, and like teaching them about their bodies and how like they're able to absorb sunlight to like produce more food or like produce more chlorophyll. So I want her to be like at the molecular level, like whispering to these plants and like coaxing them to like grow in a way that she wants them to grow.
Birds and the bees, the flowers and the trees.
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I still don't need a check for this. I think you're able to accomplish all of this, even as much as, yeah, you have several days to do this, and the longest version of this casting can be 8 hours. That really affects like a mile radius. So you're helping the locations that you're casting this within in their bounty. The land is able to produce. You're able to accommodate additional rooms out of that treehouse you're trying to achieve. They're going to yield more fruit, their branches, and you're able to really accomplish what you're going for here. I will ask, just for clarification, within the sort of Lalor ruins that you guys can now kind of maintain as an abode, are you doing this large tree within the courtyard space in between like Minerva's tower and you guys' structure, or are you doing it more up near the top of the kind of atrium space toward the top of the structure? I just want to get a better understanding of like where these spaces are being created.
More towards the top of the like tower. I want it to be like more like built up high, and maybe it'll spread out from there, but I wanted that like great tree to be grown in that space. Because that's
Very
more
cool.
of our area, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then in the Emerald Gardens, she wanted to meet with Anara, to like plan out what sorts of bounty the elves would be interested in like eating throughout the year. So she like defers to Anara of like what sorts of things like grow best in this area and like what would store well and be of use to the elves.
Sure. And Nara will Anara's a very well regarded individual that tends to the Emerald Gardens, and unlike the previous her sort of one of her attendants who you had met a previous day, who was almost like eagerly and like desperate to please you, she's almost regarding you, she is exceedingly excited to interact with you, but is seeing you as more of an equal, where she is very confident in her own ability as well to see to the land and know what's best for it. And she appreciates your insight, and there's this ebb and flow of conversation where you really work off one another. I'm going to ask you to please make just a general wisdom check. It's not nature specifically, it is pretty bound in nature, but Anara eagerly takes your advice for how can we better suit the populace and the lands surrounding with the actions we take in our work here.
I went through.
Very cool. Well, actually, with that, go ahead and roll a d6 for me. After your fruitful conversations with Anara, and you identify some areas to improve within the Emerald Gardens, some places to just make even better, places that are not as easy to tend that she maybe asks your advice on, and later suggests that actually, if you'd be interested, we could assign 3 attendants to you, Rome, who can be used as effectively followers within Ithilwingate territory to help you accomplish various tasks that you might seek. It's true.
I would love to have individuals to accompany me on my missions, and to learn from me and me to learn from them.
Very well. Well, these followers can be certainly put to use in various ways that can be mechanically beneficial. But just know that at this moment you have earned 3 followers effectively.
Awesome. So I'm gonna have them help me continue to like grow this garden, although they don't have I would assume they don't have the ability to like cast plant growth. So
many of them have minor druid crafting, but Anara is probably the equivalent of maybe a level 2 druid. But the rest of her attendants are like sub level 1. They have druid craft and can literally plant things. They're all proficient in nature and that kind, in herbalism, but correct, they can't magically create plants quite like you can.
Okay, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna grow this space over the course of multiple days, which is multiple miles radius of like rows of wheat and other like orchard fruits, and like vining fruits and like cherry trees and vegetables and just like huge bounties. And as she's casting plant growth, she's also speaking with these plants to get them to produce more and understand more about how they themselves can grow in ways that can better support the amount of bounty that they're about to produce. I also speak with the animals that are in this space as well to teach them of the interconnectedness of the environment and how every being must provide some sort of role and function to better support the entire system. So I employ other small animals to bring nutrients and leaves and compost from the forest and lay it along the plants so that they can better grow and produce for the elves. I would also imagine that she like settles scores between fungal colonies and other like native plants in the area, and to teach them that like they must work together in order to better grow with one another, and that like one does not exist without the other. And like I would imagine that like Rome, like speaking these things with these plants, she's like always telling like these plants to like spread the word, like you know, this is the way, is that like we all need to be connected and in balance and peace, in peace with one another to like better support life as a whole. So she like, as she provides a seed to a squirrel, she's like whispering to the squirrel to like run off and like tell your friends about like this message.
Very fucking cool. Absolutely love that.
Yeah. And then at the end of this, she creates a piece of paper from some of the trees that she's been growing, and she writes a letter to Newfael, because she assumes that she's busy, and you know, Rome's also very busy with Rome mission. She doesn't necessarily have time to like meet with people, and figures that if Newfael wants to speak with her, she can come and see her as opposed to Rome trying to find her. And she writes, "Dear Newfael, I present you with this garden of double bounty for you to feed your people and to help repopulate and grow your population in higher numbers. But in that this garden produces double the amount that is needed to support your civilization, I ask that you also donate the extra food to those in war-torn areas of Croatia. I hear that there's a war. The elves are not always willing to donate soldiers or to support in any which way, but I ask that you please provide this food as an effort to spread peace and to help those that are in need. Do me this one favor in exchange for my great gift to your civilization."
I'm taking a note real quick on a
Can
thing.
you fail? Like gets rid of Telperion and adopts a new kid.
Newfael will, at one of your latter days, maybe day 5 or 6 of tending to the gardens, you're in the Emerald Garden specifically, and you see off in a distance sort of a flock of people, and people are almost separating and providing walkway for an individual. And you do see Newfael herself stride through the city, flanked by a dozen Selethar Rangers. And then once she arrives at the Emerald Gardens, she indicates for them to hang back, and she actually personally asks for you to give her a tour of your contributions that you've mentioned within the Emerald Gardens, which is a fairly, you can tell by the way the populace is drawing attention and gathering and parting way for her. This is not something that always happens for the Aranel herself to just so casually walk through the streetways and pathways of this wooded city. So she has indeed, you have won her attention and respect, and she has granted you an audience, and will spend part of a day discussing with you in the Emerald Gardens, even so much as walking at your side, even just conversing with you in a sort of casual sense and saying that indeed they intend to break from tradition in reasonable ways in terms of interacting with the outer world, not to narcissistically push their own culture upon other people's, but offer bounties, offer aid in lifting up other people should they find the opportunities to do so. So you find that rather intensely sunk into her mind, your suggestion. And she thanks you profusely.
Well, I thank her for providing me with the land to transform and to also spread the word that is how we are all connected, and peace and balance.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, cool. Will that do it for Rome?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to do.
No, she's not done.
I'm not
well,
done.
I know Roulette wants to grab her for a thing later, potentially. Maybe other people have something. But in terms of you initiating downtime activities you're interested in, if those are complete, Rome, I would like to, I know sometimes we wait till after session, but I would like to offer you a point of inspiration, because number one, that was amazing and awesome. And two, if I can help it, I want to give mechanical benefits to people's downtime in addition. And I didn't find a great opportunity to do so for you, and to respect the awesome vibe you just set with Rome and the relationship building. Yes, you have your 3 followers that can help with various tasks in the future, but absolutely a point of inspiration as well.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I would just say that like the only other thing that Rome does is she spends more time in her like in a like an eagle form, like bird form. She like tries out different like birds because she now can fly, and she like likes to stay up in the top of the trees, maybe with Consalo, spending time with him and Jiri in the evening.
Did you have some?
Mine is at the very end of the week.
Oh, okay. I want to seek out Rome during one of the evenings, where we're all kind of like gathered at the end of the day. And we don't have to RP. Well, we could RP through it. I want to offer you a mind reading though, mentioning that like I've maybe after this is after an Ezrin, like I could read your mind while you're sleeping if you'd like, when your mind's more relaxed and you're having deeper thoughts, and I could relay back to you the next morning what I find if you're looking to kind of pull any mysteries out of your memory. And so all that in RP happens.
So would this be presented to Rome as a question? Like, are you asking her whether or not she'd let you do this?
Yeah, Telperion will present it as like, this is something I could do for you if you would like, because I'm not using my mind reading every day. And so, and again, Telperion will explain like during adventuring, he uses it more often. If you would like this, he can do it. Just this is entirely for you, not his own benefit. So if you're interested in this week, you could, during any of these evenings, ask him to do this for you.
I would imagine that we would have some sort of conversation about this. I would just say to Telperion, I don't have a preference of a time in which you could do this to me. I have what I find to be a good handle on like, I can handle being in my own mind, but I worry that you may struggle navigating through my mind. But you're more than welcome to try if you'd like.
Oh, that's a challenge I can't refuse. Well, how about this night then? I'll try to read your mind while you've rest.
Okay.
So then I'll, wait for Rome to go to sleep, and then I'll kind of like similar before, like at a point of time, I'll go in and put my hands on both sides of her temples and cast Detect Thoughts.
So first of all, Rome, what are Rome's... Telperion automatically, when he does this, gains surface level thoughts, like conversational things that might be naturally flowing through Rome's head. So this would be before any deep dive of Rome's inner mind takes place. So what surface thoughts might he glean from Rome?
I think all you would hear is kind of like a deep gong sound of like a long ohm, like one of those, like, and it's like very vibrational, like where like maybe he would feel the vibration of that very low tone.
Very cool. And then I imagine you try and push deeper, Telperion.
I would. Oh, this is gonna be so hard.
Yeah, so we'll loosely set the precedent. If there's ever an opportunity where this needs to change judgmentally, we can tackle that. But I would say for a sleeping creature, Rome, could you make a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage? And I'm going to say you can't shoot, unless the spell states it, I'm going to say you can't choose to fail.
She can choose to fail.
Okay, so if you want to choose to fail, you're welcome to.
And I'll triple check that.
What does failure mean?
It just would allow him to dive deeper into your memories and mind and see what he can see. Your mind naturally wants to push out invading forces, but should you choose to fail, you're allowing him fully.
Never mind. She cannot choose to fail. It says must.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't choose to fail, but I guess that's what I rolled. I don't know.
Well, that's not as much fun. So we
could
subvert that.
You're more than welcome to enter my mind, Telperion.
Well, also I could try again another night.
Sense.
Telperion would take it as a challenge and then try again another night. So we could keep going until she rolls lower.
We could RP that, or like overview do that. The first time you try and do this, Rome's mind, even subconsciously, is more difficult to see past the natural defenses she has in mind. It's a more foreign mind than something you've tried to read before. So we'll say that took place one night, and then a later night when you're more used to it, if she chooses to fail, then you can get in further. So then at this point, I would say, Rome, what are some deeper thoughts Rome might have? And then I might instigate a thing.
So Telperion's being allowed deeper into my mind?
Yes.
Okay. So Telperion, you see as many colors as you can take in at once, and it looks like fractals, like zooming in, and you're zooming in on particular patterns, and then like as you're zooming in, you're seeing the same pattern emerge. And like there's color and like lines and kind of like imagine like an acid trip, like that's like sort of what Rome's mind is. And like that's the sort of experience that you get. Like she doesn't necessarily have any thoughts. It's just a lot of like visuals, and like somehow these visuals communicate this like mandala, like sort of like structure that like communicates that we're all like one and connected in some manner. And you see molecules and like galaxies, and like that's the sort of like image that you experience tumbling into her mind.
I like trip a little bit.
So at this point, I would like to instigate a thing. As you're experiencing that in Rome's deep thoughts, I would like Telperion to please make an investigation check.
Eight.
Okay. So it is too difficult to discern sense in these patterns. You're seeing the sense, the logic of them in a way, because there's patterns that look natural but looks like a tree, and then you keep zooming into that and it's other patterns and deeper fractals, and it's impossible to comprehend the expansiveness, the infinity of these fractals you're being drawn through. But you can get the sense that there is sensical patterns that exist here. Maybe they're like physical memories that are imprinted in Rome's past mind. So if thoughts or memories are hidden from her ability to recall them, they could, in theory, be investigated if she can't find them herself. But you're unable to do so this week.
Okay. So upon waking the next morning, I'll tell Rome, well, I've never experienced anything like that. I think your mind, like you said, would it didn't cause me harm, but it wasn't the most efficient. And I think maybe in future days I could, future weeks I could try again. There was certainly things to be found there, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to dig through them. It's not like Jiri, where it's just bursting at the seams with information. Your memories are deeper and longer, so I think it'll just take some time.
Telperion, you and I will navigate my mind together to help to try and piece together some of the pieces that are missing and disconnected from the whole.
I'd be happy to help.
Very nice. Cool. Well, then we'll move on to Jiri.
All right. So Jiri is going to spend a majority of his days working on the play. Maybe like 6 to 8 hours in total. And I'm assuming like the other characters, spend a little bit of time working on it. But his like main day is spent, making sure everything is arranged appropriately, helping Roulette, with any of the pyrotechnics, working with Telperion to make sure that there is kind of like elvish tradition to the play as well. Like the format is something very specific. That he's looking into, and to give everybody kind of like a brief overview of like what the play is going to be like as you see it, because you'd be kind of interacting with it. But it's going to have 7 acts, and each act is kind of like an epic fantasy style like battle that's narrated by Toby and then sub-narrated by Audros the Stormbender. And so like very much
who's voicing Audros the Stormbender? Jiri?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So very much like if you've ever seen like Jason and the Argonauts or like any of these like Greek myths, like that kind of vibe, that style.
Yep.
And each act has one of the characters as like the main villain in it, and so they get to have like a villain monologue, and then like Elfie with his little puppets all like attack, you know what I mean? And then and Shadow Moby plays like each character kind of like if there's each person in like the 4 Winds, like if they're highlighted in that specific battle, like if they're the one that get the killing blow, that's who Shadow Moby plays. So like Shadow Moby has like a bigger costume of like Roulette and a bigger costume for Jiri, and so like each act it switches. And then like the first act Jiri is Shadow Moby, but then the second act it's like Roulette or something, and then so now there's a Jiri puppet on Elfie. So like that's kind of like the format of the play, and then getting like the stage ready and everything, the music prepared, all that kind of stuff, making sure everything is neat, orderly, and ready to go. But one big thing that he wants to do on his in the time that he has not focused on the play is he's going to go pick up the rings from the ring dealer that he had, and he's going to take the 3 rings, and he wants to gather Telperion, Roulette, and Toby together. And he's going to say, all right, we need to have a meeting of the original 4 members of the 4 Wings. And Telperion, of course. Let's all get together. I got something to show you guys.
What do you got?
Yeah, is this more play prep stuff going on?
No. Completely different. It's a surprise for Elfie, Kinsalo, and Rome. I feel like they've been helping us out a lot, so we should invite them into our super secret crew. Make them members of the 4 Winds. There can be more than 4, you know.
And he's gonna give Telperion the bone ring, the stone ring to Roulette, and then the what's the last one?
Was it like a wooden ring?
The wood ring to
yeah.
Toby. And he's gonna say to each of you,
okay, I'm gonna leave it to you guys to surprise them. But this one, here's the wood wing for Rome. And this is the stone one for Elfie, and a bone one for Kinsalo. They're all based off of fun events that we've had together before they were with us. For example, we used to skip stones all the time before we had Elfie, and we fought that crazy twig blight before we met Rome, and we found the dragon bone before we met Consalo. So it's to remember our time together before and after meeting them.
That's very thoughtful, Jerry.
That's awesome, Jerry. I love that.
You are the best gift giver of all the Four Winds.
What was that?
You are the best gift giver of all the Four Winds, new and old.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Amazing.
you guys figure out how you're going to surprise them. I leave it to you.
All right, I can do that.
I think I've got an idea.
Cool.
And then other than that, training with Telpiran and the elves, and maybe like flying lessons with Consalo. He probably spent at least like an hour with like everybody throughout the day, like helping Roulette in the workshop or whatever she's doing. Dueling with Consalo, and
I would have loved some artistic advice about designing my Kellenvor shrine from Jiri.
oh yeah, definitely some shrine time, hanging with Toby, and then visiting the gardens with Rome.
Very cool. You're able to complete all those things, and we'll get back to some tangible things when we tackle the play. Is that it for things Jiri wants to instigate throughout the week?
One other thing is he will try to do a little bit of research on werewolves here. Again, going through the library, and this time instead of just like getting a book sent to him, maybe like going to the library and like asking one of the librarians or whoever runs like the archives here to like read him stuff.
Yeah, the archivists of the Preservers Athenium are happy to help. So Telperian's freaking out in his seat.
Freaking out. Well, Steve made fun of me, so I had to do it a second time because he goes, I specifically want to go like one afternoon to the Athenium. So if anyone wants to go with me, we could do like a little group thing. So if you wanted to get to RP that, Jerry, we could do.
It's at the library.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we can have you roll for it now or later. It's essentially going to be with the preserver or the archivist's help gathering books that you're interested in. I will probably want a history check, but it's actually a history check on their end that you're assisting with in a sense. And they're better at that. So that just helps you out. Let's do this.
We just watch Crit talk himself into beefing up our rolls.
Okay, this is for the werewolf check at advantage. And 11's not amazing. However, the Mooncrest Elves do have various volumes on lycanthropy and the essence of what werewolves are, their lineage, ancestry, and they are well regarded to all. This is information you've probably heard before, but lycanthropy is a phenomenon that started in the Feywild. The Plain of Fairy saw the first werewolf when Oberon himself, the husband of Titania, and a beautiful, one of the main grand archfey, her husband Oberon became the first werewolf and essentially started a lycan following and ancestry. He is often regarded as the first lycan. Is there anything particularly you're hoping to find? You might not find every answer you're looking for, but
no, he was trying to figure out like where they would be located here in the material plane, and it just sounds like that information is not available.
Well, it would also say that Chimeris far and away it's not even comparable, that half their population is considered lycans, but that's also tied up with the nature of what it is to be a Villian, someone who's wild marked. Some people are shifters, some people are druids, but many are true lycans or have lycan blood that gives them different, so to speak, bestial sub-races in some form. Many of them are lycan touched to some degree, and so where to find werewolves or where creatures are lycans, outside of their history of coming from the plane of fairy, the Feywild, anywhere you look in Chimeris, there will be a chance of being were creatures.
Okay, then I'll just like head back to wherever Telpiran is and be like,
no luck, Telpiran, but I did figure out we gotta go back to Chimeris.
That lines up with our goals nicely, so good.
Yeah, you ready to go? We should probably head out right now.
We have to do a play first.
Yeah, but how far away is Camaris?
Camaris is very far. Miles.
You think our bird friend? No, the other bird friend.
Oh, Korik?
You think Korik would teleport us today?
What day is it? And I asked
it's probably, when you guys are going to the library, probably day 4, 5, 6.
Right, yeah.
It's an aimless, amorphous day.
I actually wanted to have a conversation with Jerry, so I'm going to go out the window and I'm going to fly and kind of let him try to make him follow me. And I have to hop fly in a way that he doesn't. And I'll actually ignite my boots for it. So I'm like jetpacking of my boots almost.
My God.
So I can get more movement out of it. But I want to lead him to the Moondrop Cradle Amphitheater tree. I want to have a conversation with him in that tree. So does Jerry follow me?
Yeah, he'll be like, "Wait, Telparan, you didn't answer my question," and he'll like,
no. Then I'll kill the boots by the time I land on the tree, so I don't destroy the beautiful tree. Jerry, I just realized that would have been a lot easier. If let you cast fly on me.
Cast fly on you. I don't know.
If you would help me flown, Kachu helps me fly. We flew in the Feywild together.
Oh yeah, I am very magical and I can fly places. You are correct.
I wanted to talk to you though. You know how I'm not mad about the sword anymore?
Yeah. I do remember how you're not mad about that anymore. It's great. I'm glad you're not mad.
Have you ever thought about yourself as a tree?
Have I ever thought of myself as a tree? No, I'm definitely not a tree. I'm an air genasi.
Okay. Let us pretend you're a tree. You like metaphor, right? I go in your mind. I know metaphor is your favorite thing. One thing is another thing. You know what I mean? Let us pretend your soul was a tree. Can we do that? Okay.
Yes.
We're on a tree. Should be easy. One thing I want you to know is I never want you to be a different tree than you are. You are the Jerry tree. You should stay the Jerry tree. And I don't want you to inherently change yourself or your nature, but trees grow, right?
Yes, but trees, can I have wings? Can I have tree wings?
This is a tree with wings. How many? 2 or many? More than that.
And blue. I want blue leaves and a blue trunk.
Okay. You're a blue tree with blue leaves and wings.
Well, I'm the coolest tree ever. Okay, continue.
So a tree can grow, and in some ways it stays the same tree, but it changes as it grows, right? So it stays true to itself, but it changes.
And trees get bigger.
Yes. Do you think it's time for you to get bigger as a tree or as a person?
I'm pretty tall already, but yeah, I feel like I could be taller. I don't know how can you be forced growing? Maybe you could stretch me out.
Then you'd be taller than me, even more than you are. Wouldn't that make you happy?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember when you destroyed my sword and you flaunted it in front of me and you flung it in my face?
Yeah, but I also remember you forgiving me.
Right. Do you remember how I didn't forgive you immediately? I was very mad and I looked at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to trick you into forgiving me.
And do you remember then when I was blinded in a combat and my vision was repaired and you deceived me by making yourself look like you'd been been hurt, and then you begged me to forgive you, coercing me into giving you my forgiveness?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Okay. Do you know that those were bad things to do?
How? You forgave me. Now we're friends again.
What if I took back my forgiveness? Because those were not actually you apologizing to me. You were forcing me to do something I did not want to do.
But I didn't force you. You chose to do it. You've got free will.
Right, but you tricked, lied, and begged me to give you that thing when I didn't want to. Do you see how that's a problem?
I suppose.
You are very tricky. You are very persuasive. You are very good at lying. You want to rule your people again one day, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of your mission, to go back and claim Jarland.
Oh yeah, because my brother Jadrakar is doing a really bad job of it.
And you would do better.
Probably.
So how would you do better?
Well, I'm not evil.
But would you lie to your people if they were mad at you?
If it made them Forgive me, yeah.
That might not be a good idea.
Why not?
Because like my forgiveness, it wouldn't be fairly earned, and you would be, in some ways, like your brother.
But isn't it better that you've forgiven me and now we're friends? Isn't that like what really matters?
No.
Really? Then what really matters?
No, because how did you get it? By lying.
By lying, yes.
So if you get something, say I want something, I want a treasure, and I go get it, and I kill people to get it, I do evil things to get it. The fact that I have it doesn't matter because I did horrible things on the way. The way you do something is more important than what you gain in the end.
True. I need to be virtuous to be a good king. Like my dad, Adras the Stormbender. Okay, Telpiran, what should I do? How do I make this better?
Do you even know what that word means?
No, Dad, that's why I'm asking Telpiran.
Do you remember how when I came back, my mother did not vote or defend me in any way against the council?
Yeah, did she apologize for that?
No. Do you think it hurt her to not help me?
But did it hurt you for her not to apologize?
I want you to think about her. She's the leader. I'm not a leader, and I never will be.
Why not? Why can't you be?
Well, I won't inherit the throne from her. It'll be an election to see who inherits it when she gives it up. And I don't want it. But think about her. Think about how she had to not be selfish and get what she wanted. She probably wanted my safety, right? But she had to allow me to fight for myself. She had to allow the possibility of my failure. She could have risked a lot for her neutrality as the leader. Could you give up a lot for your people?
I don't know. What would I have to give up?
Everything.
Everything. Like my Tavi? That'd be tough.
I mean, that's what it means to be a leader.
I
don't so much want to tell you to do anything. I just want you to think about how you get the things you want and who you hurt along the way. I hurt people. We both hurt people. It's okay to do that sometimes.
I only want to hurt bad guys. I don't want to hurt good people. And you're a good person, Telpiran.
I'm united with you in that desire.
Okay, then how do I go about apologizing? I don't think I've ever apologized ever in my entire life.
You were sorry you hurt me, right?
Sorry that I hurt you.
You were sorry.
I hurt you all the time. We fight all the time and I smack you.
Yes, but that cut deeper. That was not a smack. That cut deep, right?
Yeah.
And you know I was in pain.
Because you lost your shiny sword.
It's true. I lost a trinket, right? So you would say, my actions were selfish, and I'm sorry I cut you. Could you forgive me? I am sorry.
Yeah, but that doesn't make things better. I feel like there's got to be a better way to apologize. Like, what could I do? You know what I mean? Like, it was an action that made you feel bad.
You are a man of action. That is certainly true. But you acknowledging your awareness of my pain and that you are sorry for it means more to me than you putting some other short sword in my hand.
Okay, Telpiran, I'll try it out. I'm sorry I lost your sword. I will find you a new one. It's on my list of things to do. And I will make it up to you.
I would like you to know my forgiveness is not predicated on you finding something to give me.
Okay. How about this? I will put on my list, be nicer to Telpiran.
How about you just put this on your list? Think about how the people around you are feeling. That's all.
Okay. I will, Telpiran. But I'll definitely make it up to you too. You just wait and see.
I will wait, but I do not need it.
I feel like I grew like a tree there. That's the first time I've ever apologized.
That is very big of you. It's a very... Rome would be proud. She loves watching things grow obsessively, quite almost. And I think you thinking about what kind of leader you will be is an important step for you.
That's a good point, Telpiran. You're really smart and wise. I'm gonna need your help to become a good king.
I've long known I was good at giving you good ideas, so happy to take that role.
Okay, cool. Do you feel better now?
I do. Do you feel any different?
I feel like I feel taller. Can we go measure myself?
Sure. We'll go get. Roulette always has a ruler. We'll go get one.
Okay, let's go measure me.
All right.
I think I grew.
And then I can't fly anymore, so I have to ask him to help me down. I imagine I burn plenty of side diagonal.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Cast fly. Fly down to roulette.
Perfect. Well, unless there's anything else from Jiri, that night you have that conversation with Telperion. A voice sneaks into your mind as well and says, Jiri, that elven friend of yours has, for some frustrating reason, been on my mind. I fear I might owe you an apology of my own. We have often been at odds, you and I, and even as far as me allying myself with that Jax persona for a time, thinking he would better suit my goals and ambitions. But now we find ourselves surrounded by additional allies, with perhaps more to come, all directed against Durast, the place we seek to make it to. Perhaps a better chance of reaching Daenor than we have ever had before. I fear that my desperation to get back to Daenor has not only put you at further risk of death, but myself along with you. When over time we seem to be setting ourselves up for more success in that venture. And you seem to wield me well at times. So I will continue to grant you my boons however I can in the future. I do not understand your mind or the way you think, but I am starting to trust it. More so than I thought I should.
Oh, thanks, Dad. That means a lot coming from you.
Well, very well. Go off then.
Okay, we'll do. I'll
run.
let Telpiran know that even my dad is thinking about him.
Perfect. All right. Well, Telperion, I know you've had a couple conversations with other people in their downtime, but what are you spending your downtime on?
For sure. Okay, so first of all, I think it's a little bit of a lighter, easier thing to tackle. I want to go to the Athenium. We haven't actually walked in it yet. I don't know if we need to RP it. I think I'd invite anyone to come with me who wants a chance to kind of see, like, I think it would be a good chance for people to see, like, what research is available. I specifically am going to seek out the director of the archive, museum, to sell them the Elvish statues. So I imagine I take the book from Roulette. And then I'm going to ask what artifacts, if they have any for sale that are of interest to an adventuring party.
Sure. You would know right off the bat that although spell scrolls of divine or natural competency can be purchased here, but they don't generally engage in commerce, so to speak, with the populace. That's more of an acquisition conversation between great houses and the Athenium. So there are artifacts exchanged, but none that are, sort of obviously available for purchase, so to speak. However, they do weigh in on the statues and would be buyers for them at 250 a pop. Which I think you guys sold some in Kirsan, but have some left if you are interested in.
I will tell you in one moment.
So let's look it up. But I'll probably sell them. I would not be sure if I should be trying to talk them up at all, because it's all like, so I'm like kind of the gauging of that conversation. They would say 250, and I would be wondering if I should like be using my, I don't even know, like I'm not sure if I should or shouldn't be using my personality.
Well, give me a general insight check on how to read the situation and whether you feel comfortable pushing the boundaries here a little bit.
I rolled a 2, and it's a 2. Again, that's +0.
It's a 2. It's a 2. They offered you an amount. There's no reason you can't try and negotiate for more if you want.
Okay, well, Mike knows that's a bad idea, but Topirian doesn't. So
we have 4. We have 2 marble, 1 ancient stone, 1 copper.
What's 250 times 4?
1,000.
1,000. Topirian would ask if they could give over a little more over 1,000 for the 4, since they are unlike any they've seen here before.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Oh, this hurts so bad.
Our charismatic fighter.
8 total. You find some dissatisfaction in the tone of the archivist that you're engaging with, and they are sticking to their 1,000, and you may have rubbed them the wrong way at trying to gouge some extra money for restoring an elvish artifact to an elvish populace. That didn't land well with them, but
sure. God, that was really hard to do. So anyway, selling the 4 statues.
Okay, 1,000 gold.
And then we'll just distribute that amongst the 5 of us. It's 200 each. Later on, I get 200 to everybody.
Cool. I'm removing the statues from the book.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Literally don't remember how to add money. Here it is.
Inventory.
200. Add. Okay. So, and oh yeah, can we just get like a summary of what sections or like what genres of research they have here?
Sure. I mean, there's any section you can imagine as far as history, works of fiction, tales of old bardish sort of storytelling. There's stories of the Fae, even the Shadowfell, many gods and goddesses of the Seldarin pantheon, sort of more natural environmental information and tales of throughout the Emerald, limited in their lore about other northern nations, or even limited in Chimeran lore. But, give me a general topic you're interested in, and we can work through what might be available there. Is there a specific thing Telperian's interested in searching about?
Not divergence. Fucking critical role. What's
Sundering.
The Sundering.
The god of the Sundering, who I keep seeing in my nightmares.
The god of the dark god, yeah. The dark god. You want to learn more about that. Go ahead and give me a history check.
Not one.
Oh. You search and search, and although what's interesting that I literally like about these types of roles is it kind of sets a new precedent for future information. You look through many spell scrolls. The elvish culture here has many stacks and shelves of true tomes and books where an author had to inscribe and transcribe text into them, but there's more spell scrolls kind of stacked in racks, almost nonsensically, but the archivists know where everything is stored. They direct you to various sections, and in all of your research, you do get the sense that, yes, our cousin kin, the Alalor, went to go participate in this northern war known as the Sundering 1668 years ago, to battle against the Dark God and their armies. But you don't gain any new information about that. And you grow frustration in that even if there is a nugget, a diamond in the rough, a needle in the haystack of information within the archives here, your people, their seclusion has made it more difficult here than other places to learn about that information.
Okay, that sounds good. So my big overall thing that I'm gonna do once I leave that is I'm gonna speak to my mom and my sister and see if they could. And I'm actually a little nervous, and I have a backup activity plan, but because I know they're both pretty busy. But I'm gonna see if they can instruct me in political discourse, since I'm assuming I'm going to be heading out and acting as a liaison of the Ithilwinge, and I'm going to find myself in high tense political situations where I have not had as been astute as, or a good student as Minerva in those situations. I'm pretty bad at like reading people politically and telling them what they want to hear to learn more. I kind of close people off as someone who's not into this stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you make a roll for that. I don't have a very clear idea in my own mind right now on what might be gained from that roll, but go ahead and give me a general. I'm tempted to make it persuasion, but it might be a general charisma. It's definitely not intimidation. Yeah, just make a general charisma check. I'll say with advantage because you're being coached throughout the week by diplomats, by your mother, a couple points of guidance from her, Minerva giving you information. So go ahead and give me charisma with advantage.
Oh, I rolled a 19. 18.
18 total. It's a very valuable week. Again, I don't have a clear, tangible reward or benefit that I have in mind quite yet, but it is a very eye-opening week of instruction, as you've always maybe had a harder time in the political sphere because you're a man of not impatience, so to speak, but you value more the kind of sort of tangible benefits from martial training. You can see improvement over time, and the politics here are so locked into inter-Ithilwinge conflict. But now that you have more experience from outer worlds and how they interact with each other in various ways, things click into place better now than they did in your studies, where it seemed less beneficial or useful to your day-to-day. Now you're putting it in perspective of how to use these skills you've been taught, and it went in one ear and out the other, and you're starting to give respect to that study. So very successful, surprisingly successful in that regard.
Do I have time to, during this period, I'll also tell my mom we want to keep the keep amongst those meetings. And then we
can go into kind of resource management of that in the near future when you guys want to, because there's essentially a base fee to keep the keep as yours, and then there's increased fees to like add an alchemical room, add maybe a room for smithing, add a more bountiful, which Rome has already mostly facilitated, but maybe the development of plants like a higher heightened bountiful greenscape might help potion making or poison making checks down the line. There's various benefits that can be gained from investing in the keep. So we can go over some of that, but she acknowledges your interest in keeping it, which Minerva had made her aware of as well. And she will start putting together some sort of records stating such, and will come to you all in the near future with numbers. Okay. So that has been started, but do you have time for what else?
Training with Vanya with, now that I've done psionics, and I mean, I haven't really had a chance to talk to her about it yet. So like, I would like to kind of go through with her, like how I've been growing. And like, I would probably like be taking, like, I probably have some notes, and I'd share some notes with her and be like, and I would tell her, I want to work on one thing specifically, which is using my psionic ability to kind of like, I can fly, but like I would go into, as I texted you about, talking about how I've been training, trying to figure out how to use my psionics to help me move in a way that people won't expect when I'm in combat, or like, because I can move them kind of sometimes, but like, how can I like shut myself around, or like use my psionics to make me react quicker, or what have you. And so with what remaining time I have, I would like to kind of train with her in my new armor, with my new psionics, letting her also watch me in my new forms, seeing if she can glean any insights kind of through how I've grown.
You're absolutely able to do so. And I'd like to take the opportunity to say, you go there for an anticipated day of training and 6 hours go by and you have both just been talking to each other. You went there to do one thing and you ended up just discussing your burgeoning ability. She was like deeply invested in learning of when did this thing start happening to you? What was the circumstances around when this new thing was available to you? She's really, as a teacher for the Crescent Knight students here, to essentially limited or almost no avail, she's hyper focused on analyzing, well, what were the inputs that got you that output? Like, not only I'm impressed by you, certainly, but how can we replicate things for new students to help foster the growing back this tradition that is all but lost in our people? So you go into depth in that, and she emphasizes some of your specific requests and interests to do more. She sort of emphasizes that she's very jealous of not only your burgeoning psionics in all sorts of ways, but she has always struggled to gain telepathical mastery that you have started to, and her sort of forte is in telekinetics. Most specifically, to your own chagrin, that she's rather adept at throwing a sliver and pulling it back to her hand rather quickly. She has unlocked that sort of training style for herself. And so she shows you that occasionally. And then in discussion of how to better move yourself around in combat throughout the next week, in her own enhanced ability of telekinetics specifically, it's almost like that's a specialty she chose or was able to foster better than telepathics. Think maybe Guardian and Consular in a sense of Jedi. She gives information and shows you training on how to, if you're ever caught flat-footed in a scenario, a combat, a conflict, how to better orient yourself to react quicker. Studying her, and for the first time in what is likely to be many, many, many centuries, 2 true Crescent Knights engage in skirmishes and training together. And I would like you to make an intelligence check to see how successful your efforts with her are to sort of adapt this new pursuit you're interested in.
Okay. I'm super ready to use inspiration on this if I do badly.
Okay.
14 plus 3 is 17, which is probably, it's really good. 17 is really good.
I'm not going to react unless you choose to.
Oh, no. I will, I'm going to...
You should just stick with it.
That 17's bit. That's it.
Okay. With the 17, you're successful in trying to interact with Vanya and play off each other, and now in earnest actually adapt to the fighting styles of true Crescent Knight better than you had been, now that you have your own martial forms to utilize better. You don't quite pull off what she was intending to teach, but you learn what it is to accomplish that. And effectively, any week you spend pursuing this in the future will slowly decrease the DC of this thing by 1 each time you try it. But it effectively would be, upon rolling initiative, you could spend 1 psionic die to increase your initiative by that number. Though it would utilize your reaction to do so. So if it were a poor initiative and you rolled, a bump of 2 and you're still low, you don't have a reaction to use for the first several turns of combat potentially. But if you eventually your psionic die get to a D12 and you roll a 4 and add a 12 to it, you've just put yourself at a 16. So she teaches you what it is to adapt to being flat-footed and more quickly get into an active martial form. That capability can be earned in the future, but it will take work.
Perfect. Amazing. That is stellar. So that's kind of all I want to do for my downtime. I have one shop I want to hit later, but like that can be as we exit. And I guess I'd also be checking in on Minerva with the Sending Stones, but that's something we can check in on later too.
Yeah, you definitely have adequate time to spend with your recovering father. Your mother at times, though she is even more busy than you expected with the new ally ships being reached out to and war efforts being prepared for. But plenty of time with Minerva, plenty of time with your father, in general discussion and sort of downloading your adventures where you want to. Creating Sending Stones will take Minerva. She knows she can do it. It will take substantial time.
Okay.
However, also during the week, a couple days later, Emmerich has your commission available to you.
Yeah.
So that is now in your possession. As well as remind me, that was you did pursue the commission with the Nightfall Forge. That is still being worked on.
Yeah.
It will take a couple weeks to finish that. So it won't be available by the time you guys are thinking about heading out from the Moonset Grove, but down the line in a couple weeks, it should be ready to be acquired.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Nope, I think that is all I had. So anything else people had in mind for people as sort of the week starts to wrap up? I know Roulette wanted to talk to Rome about a thing. Jiri's play will commence toward the end of the week. Anything else we want to handle?
I just would have joined along with Telperion on his day doing stuff in the Athenium, and just would have wanted to make sure I've exhausted their records about the Null realm, the Fugue plane, and the only thing I would have tried to help them in guiding me is, like, obviously they'll probably point me towards like the realm section of realm study, and maybe also ask them if they have any like tales of people visiting there that might potentially be in a different section of like an adventuring section or something. But I just want to make sure I've learned what I can here.
The archivists are helpful in pointing you toward the planar studies section where scrolls can be made of use for you, or reading tomes, etc. You had already found a tome that mentioned the Fugue plane. However, they are not, the archivists themselves, outside of the information contained within the text here, are not familiar with any tales of people that had visited the Fugue plane or something, and are not familiar with the plane in general, other than the fact that it's mentioned in a tome or two. However, there's still potential information to be gleaned here. Go ahead and give me a history check on your own end as well.
I would have liked to thrown enhance ability, borrowed knowledge on that.
I figured that's totally fair game.
Okay. So add 3 to this advantage. Hell yeah. 7
cool
total.
Okay. With the 7, you are unable to find additional information. You maybe find another scroll that mentions domains of the gods, and it's so heavily Selder and Pantheon focused, but occasionally there are references to Modera and other gods of mortals. But Kelemvor, as not a heavily worshipped god, is more difficult to find information about, so you don't gain additional info.
That happened to mention him, and there was like kind of a throwaway sentence about what his domain kind of was.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll give you the expositional understanding that, similar to Telperion Search, unfortunately, this culture is harder to gain that information from than others likely will be. So in some sense, you've tried to do something very challenging, and should you pursue that same thing in other nations or at other grand cities, you might be more successful.
It would have been very surprising to find more here. Like,
sure.
I think Toby kind of knew that going in, but just wanted to fully double check and feel confident about that.
Definitely more information to look forward to in other locations. That'll do for that. Roulette, did you want to get on your thing with Rome, or did anyone else have any final items before we kind of arrive at Sundas for Jiri's play?
Day before the play, I'm gonna grab Rome. Rome, I'm wondering if you could help me out a bit. And I'll aside to the boys, a bit of a ladies' conversation I'm hoping to have.
I'll do my best.
And we'll retreat to whatever part of the grand treehouse is like can be the reception room.
Yeah, imagine Rome has like a private, maybe she has like a private room that she created for herself, and like the two of us like kind of go into this hideaway.
Yes.
Amazing.
I figured this, I don't know, this word's getting out about this play tomorrow, and I'm probably gonna be a lot of people. I'm thinking this is gonna be a big event for Jiri, and I don't know, Rome. I'm endlessly impressed with you, but the way you kind of you put on like a beautiful gown or something every time we kind of switch places. I need some advice because I kind of want to, I don't know, dress up for this thing tomorrow, and I'm hoping to get any kind of advice you might have for what I can throw on to a dress or something.
I think more flowers would be best. Like, let's go forage for flowers, maybe a bouquet. We could outfit your hair and find other colors that complement your own natural beauty. I'm thinking maybe orange, like a deep orange, or maybe purples.
Ooh, the purples I think would look good. And Roulette will start. You'll see her like on whatever clothes she's wearing. She's like activating like small little runes using one of her tools and stuff, and she will cast Alter Self on herself, doing the shape changing one. I forget what it's called. The shapeshifter one, which is disguise self over and over again. I've always been partial to kind of shades of blue, so I was thinking this kind of mid to light blue, and I will put on this just very basic, like very sub-average gown, looking for like I know this is kind of just, this is where my imagination starts when it kind of comes to the aesthetics things like this. I don't know. So any kind of advice or something you can offer would be much appreciated. But I do kind of like the idea of any sort of purple flowers.
Okay, I grab Rowlette with my vines and like start to like push her outside, like push her towards like a courtyard area where like we can like the sun's hitting her in a particular way so that we can like actually like we got something to work with. And Rome calls over a couple of birds that are in the trees and whispers to them to go out searching for filigree and eucalyptus and like other grasses and things like that, and like sets them off to hopefully have them come back with things. And then she casts plant growth to grow a variety of different kinds of purple flowers like lilac and morning glory and amaranth. And as she's growing them like off the tips of her fingers, she's like weaving them into Roulette's hair.
So as that's happening, Roulette will be like every action she can do it, she'll just keep like kind of changing the dress and like saying like, should I make it bigger here, longer here, flowier here? As you are weaving it into her hair, she's also changing her appearance to slowly make her hair somewhat longer. And she doesn't say anything about this. But as this is kind of going on, her hair is getting somewhat longer. I don't know. I've never really gotten a chance to dress up like this. I Storm's Edge, where the town I'm from, we would have like, I don't know, galas and balls and stuff once every season or so, but we Daddy would never let me go to them. I was either too young or I don't know. He always had like the inn. He knew the governor and everything, but he just never wanted to go and do the meeting and greeting with everyone, all the important people, which I said, that's dumb, Daddy. You should go show off all your inventions and stuff. They'd love them. But have you ever kind of, I don't know, I know memory is a weird thing for you from what you've said, but have you ever kind of gone to like a ball like this?
I imagine that I maybe in a past life have been to a ball, but not in this current life. What will happen, and you'll interact in the way in which you are meant to interact with, and you'll meet people and feel a variety of emotions, and it'll be a wonderful experience. You should lean into this experience, and it'll allow you to grow and discover new parts about yourself.
I will see what I can do about that. And as you guys are discussing, Minerva has approached.
I thought this was going in Rome's head. I'm sorry.
I cannot help but overhear you all as I was making my way back to my tower and noticed you all in the courtyard, tending to Lady Roulette's beautiful hair, might I add. And I just heard you suggest you've never been to a ball, and I would just like to say it would be a travesty not to have the beauty of you both attend one of our balls in Bithynian. I will see what I can do about that. It might not be before you next leave, but perhaps by the time you return in the future, we will have a celebratory ball before all of this warring nonsense starts up for morale boosting. Also, that dress suits you well, Roulette, but I may have additional wares to peruse if you all both are interested in joining me in my tower for a few moments.
I'd love anything you have to offer. Like I said, I've got my work gear, and that's it.
We can see to that.
We should see what Minerva has. I make my own outfits, Minerva, but I would be more than happy to incorporate anything that you find of value that you might think would benefit my outfit.
Of course. Even something such as a silver silken shawl might be suitable to add to your beautiful form, but perhaps if you are suited yourself, that is just fine. But please, both of you, follow me. And she leads you both across the courtyard and into her wizard's tower, which is not fully developed at this time, but is beautiful stonework, a spiral staircase, various boxes of arcane components have been amassed in certain locations. A custom woodwork bench is being put together in a sort of side room, and she leads you all to another space where there are racks and racks of gowns and flowing robes. I haven't had quite the time to organize everything yet, but I'm effectively going to be basing myself out of this tower for the foreseeable future and getting out of that stuffy night lamp palace. Please peruse the content, see if there's anything you like. I think Tele is the only one I have shown through the place so far, so you are in prime company. It just shows you racks of gowns for you to peruse and see if there's anything that kind of suits an aesthetic you're interested in.
I would recommend, Roulette, that you go for the outfit that speaks to you. I should not be the one to pick this outfit. You should pick the one that you think will best suit you.
So this is for out of character, Alex, for the last answer you gave right before Minerva came in, just absolutely perfect segue. So very much appreciate everything that you said there. And at that question, that's kind of the thing, Rome. And this is where I don't know if it's envy or admiration or kind of a combination of both, but you just have your head on straight. And every decision or judgment or and piece of advice you have, you seem to, I don't know, you seem to know what's right for you. I don't know. I feel sometimes I'm kind of lost with all of this. I'm barely left home for a few months, and I'm talking to someone from the Feywild and hanging out with two princes and a lovely princess. How do you remember where like you learned to be so I don't know, confident about all of this, about anything.
I don't know about any sort of confidence, but I just do what speaks to me. I follow my instinct. And if it is, there is no wrong path to take. That's just another path to learn on. So even though you may feel uncomfortable on this particular path, there's so much more for you to learn. So perhaps lean into being uncomfortable, because that is where you learn the most.
I will say that right there sounds like something my daddy would have said. You know, it's everything's a tool that can be used. You just gotta know how to use it, and learning's the way to move forward. So
some say that perhaps some say, Roulette, that perhaps acting confident will help you to build that confidence. So how would you act that would communicate that you are confident? And perhaps if you practice it, you will become it.
That's incredibly helpful advice. I'm not quite sure the answer to that one for myself, but I'll keep that in mind. That's helpful.
Minerva comes by and sets a couple cups of tea in front of you both. I can also second the statement that being uncomfortable means you're growing. I have learned that numerous times in my political affairs as well as my arcane pursuits. When I start to get in over my head and have to stand up and make a statement or make a decision arcanely, those moments can be terrifying, and they are also when you learn. You are forced to. And then you grow more comfortable being in that situation. Speaking of which, we've never had our discussion yet on my notes I gave you on spellcraft, but I don't know if there's any questions you might have had about those, Roulette. But suffice to say that someone of your persuasion might be suited to fine-tuning the natural sequences of spellcraft to meet your specific intent. We need not be bound by the archives of spellcraft that already exists. We can create our own if we are cunning enough.
You've got my mind reeling already with the possibilities, but I will say let's maybe put a pin in that one until maybe after the play, because I do want to go deeper into that conversation and figure out all the different possibilities for where I could take that. But I think to your point, kind of from a confidence building perspective, Rome, maybe at least for me, it's acknowledging there are things I don't know, and that is, I think, like you said, okay. And I don't know. The two of you coming from two very different, I'd say, backgrounds. I don't know what this is, and I will take off my glove at that point from my right hand, showing some weird subdermal whirlpool, constantly moving energy thing underneath my hand, underneath the skin of the back of my hand. I don't know what this is. I know that it doesn't hurt me. I know that it appeared at some point, but do either of you know what this could be?
Do me a favor and move your hand about, flex it just so, and give her a Arcana check. I don't have her Arcana in front of me, so I'm just gonna venture a guess at what
I can give it to you by the time you roll.
It's like a plus 19, probably.
I think it might be a +7, but I don't know if that's quite accurate.
And I will specifically show it to Rome, saying, I don't know if this, it appeared either during or right after the Fae, and I wonder if this is anything you might recognize, Rome.
Do I recognize what it is? Should I roll as well?
Rome, roll history. Minerva, you see a puzzled look on her face. I have seen many glyphs that can be inscribed upon things to bind power to an object or a person. This doesn't seem like that, and it is nothing arcane that I have come across in my studies. In Rome, it escapes you. Maybe there's something in the back of your mind that's like, maybe there's meaning to this abstract symbol, but I can't weigh in on that. So unfortunately, neither of them have valuable insight to give. Does it, you said it doesn't hurt and that it appeared. What does it do? Have you felt any sensations from it, or?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with, I don't know, just a young girl from the mountains and now I can spit lightning. It's another weird thing happening with my body, I think. But it gives off like energy or something. I don't know. I feel like a surge from it every now and then when I'm like working or using my hands a bit too much. But I can't tell if it's just tinkering pains or something new.
With a flick of her wrist, Minerva summons into her hand a small journal, and she just immediately she whips out a quill and starts writing notes about what you're describing.
But
fascinating.
It looks like maybe we all have a bit to learn for whatever this might be, but I appreciate your help, Roman, and Minerva. Access to your grand wardrobe here is much appreciated.
Yes, you are both hereby invited into my tower whenever you so wish. Any more sensitive areas in time will be adequately defended or guarded from entry, if as necessary. But my wardrobe is your wardrobe, both of you. Feel free to take what you like from it. I do request that you make them, you return them when you can. However, apparel aside, I think I'd like to offer both of you something. A symbol of our newfound friendship, let's say. And she goes into a separate room and brings out a jewelry box and opens it and sort of fiddles through some things and says, I find that a gown, a robe, even a necklace are such personal apparel items that I do not mean to gift you with the assumption that you wear them whenever you can. That is a personal decision on your end. Roulette, feel free to pick whatever color aesthetic or whatever you wish from my apparel that suits you. However, earrings, I think, are a bit different. They're smaller, they're more subtle, and they can work with almost any outfit. And she hands a small pouch to Roulette and a small pouch to Rome. I think these might suit you, if you are so inclined to keep them as a token of my friendship. And Rome, these are both worth 50 gold piece equivalent. But Rome, she gifts you 2 diamond earrings, and Roulette gifts you 2 ruby earrings.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Rome clips them onto her ear and one of her ears. She puts them both on one ear.
Ooh.
Very nice.
I like that. Her ears probably aren't even pierced, but it just like goes into the bark that of like the skin, and it just maneuvers around to accept it.
Yeah.
For malleable form.
I will.
Thank you, Minerva. I love them.
Minerva, this is wonderful, and I appreciate it, and I definitely will wear these and cherish them.
Please do. Well, if you don't mind me, I'm going to see to some more organization, which will take me as long as I live here, I'm afraid. But please take what you need and let me know if there's anything you request.
That's all I needed. Then we can figure out the dress, and I'll say something to the effect of, may not be a ball tomorrow, but we can look nice.
Perfect.
You will.
Yeah.
And with that, I think most of everyone's downtime activities have been completed. Sundas, the 3rd of Evening Star, December, is here. And tonight is the night of the play. The day will progress somewhat smoothly unless there's anything that needs to happen throughout the day. But this might be a good time to take a quick bio break. It's later than our usual halfway through, but
Evening Star? Evening Star?
Evening Star. But otherwise, we'll pick back up when we're nearing the play. So, see you all in a minute.
GG.
those of you that have been to our house, I'm excited to show you eventually before and after pictures of our upstairs room, because we've just been transforming the fucking thing. Windows get replaced tomorrow, and we've ripped out all the carpet and padding, repainted all the walls and trim. It's like, and we like have deep cleaned the floor. Eventually we're gonna have to get the floors refinished professionally, but it is massively different already.
Nice. That's where the bees were, wasn't it?
The wasp nests, yes. The like 36 wasp nests, yes.
Christ.
That was outrageous.
Is that intended to be
just a future,
or just a future?
No,
bedroom?
just a future bedroom, bonus room. Like in the future, I would love that for that to be like, hey, there's bunk beds up there, or 2 kids sleep in there, and it's the bonus room. Classically what Ryan and I's room used to usually be.
That room always felt massive to me, but that was probably because we're kids, so I wonder how relative in size that is to that space.
That's true. I bet this is probably similar. It's a big
that
room
always
up
seemed
there.
Massive to me. I thought
it
was
always in Wilmington.
An unreal space.
Do you remember our bonus room at all in Charlotte?
No.
Okay. Because that was also just, no one lived, like no one slept in there, but it was also just a big bonus room where all of our Legos and shit were.
I think I have specifically like 2 memories of being in Charlotte and that house.
Yeah. You want to speak with tuna? Great tuna with cheddar and mayo.
Ugh.
I microwaved it.
Microwaving tuna, as long as you don't do that at work.
One time I brought a tuna fish sandwich into a staff meeting, and my friend gave me endless shit. She's like, who brings tuna fish to a staff meeting?
There's this hilarious scene. There's this hilarious scene in The Good Place where Ted Danson, Michael, who's like the angel keeper of it, like grills Eleanor on, well, we have to see, we figured out you're not supposed to be here, so we have to grill you and see if you're actually a horrible person or not. And she like passes all the tests, and one of the tests was, have you ever microwaved fish, or specifically tuna, in a office microwave? And she goes, oh no. And it's just like, that's like one of the qualifications for, do you deserve to be in hell? If you did that, you deserve to be in hell. And so it's just like, it's so harsh and hilarious. Dude, The Good Place is so good.
Good.
And then they make a really funny Chick-fil-A joke in there somewhere too. They don't name it as such, but they're like, there's this place that makes really great chicken, but they hate gay people. But it's so good.
No, I want Chick-fil-A for dinner.
It's Sunday, sorry, bud.
Oh my god. Honestly, I ate out for dinner last night and breakfast today, so.
They do now sell, like, actually bottles of Chick-fil-A sauce in grocery stores, and I have a bottle.
Cane sauce is the only sauce I care about.
Chick-fil-A sauce is amazing, but yeah, I would eat cane sauce 10 times out of 10 over Chick-fil-A. Yes, Steve, I got your text, and we can work through, because I want to honor the nat 20 you got to give an additional benefit, but it is funny that you had forgotten about that, and that you sent me a text of like, yeah, we talked about this once upon a time.
Yeah, April 19th.
Yeah.
Which, LOL. It was funny.
It's just funny, and I'm glad I take notes on this shit when things come in, and I say, Roulette's interested in this thing, like, and then I refer back to that on, hey, this improvement upgrade thing, what have we discussed before? And I'm like, oh yeah, that part of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot me like. I want a pug visit. Come on up, Arch. Come on up. Meow. Initiative.
Not yet.
All right, Alex is here. She's listening. We were just making dinner.
Perfect. So it is now Sundas, the third of Evening Star. And the play is tonight. I imagine the full day of today probably goes by with you guys completing various downtime activities and Jiri probably frantically getting everything final and ready for the play.
Dress rehearsal.
Frantic.
Yes. And probably requests everyone be there 2 hours early and all the classics. But you notice even when when your party starts arrive for the people involved in the play, Telperion, you have never seen this many people in attendance this early for a show. The normal amphitheater, which is like a bowl of radial circular descending tiers of rows of carefully carved stone stands, is often very full and populated for various plays. But not only is it densely packed to the brim, there are crowds of people standing at the edges and back trying to work their way as far forward as possible to get a view of this situation. Even tons of unfamiliar faces that have definitely traveled from outside of the Moonset Grove to be here in Athenian for whatever this is. Massive audience in anticipation for whatever this play of Jiri's is. And I don't know if there have been like posters made or a title given to the play in sort of marketing the play, but Jiri can certainly inform us of that stuff if he has ideas.
Before he does, I have a feeling that earlier in the week, Telperion like got a poster made like professionally and it was like gorgeous and elegant as shit. And then I wanted Jiri to have said no and then done whatever he describes.
Or like Jiri's version is like with crayons, you know what
yes.
I mean?
Yep. Also, one final comment I want to make, because once again, I did a little bit of disservice to Kinsalo. He was constantly training, like in addition to engaging with all of you, some sparring lessons with people, hanging out with Rome up in the perches of the new atrium treehouse space over in the Alealor ruins, has been deeply invested with training with the Selethar. And Vanya pulls you aside at some point, Telperion, throughout the downtime, maybe even around noon when you guys are done with training for the day and she knows you have the play coming up tonight, so you're ending a little bit early. She pulls you aside and just tells you that man is an anomaly. The Selethar have been training for, years and years and decades and centuries on how to effectively combat various threats in the forests, and especially the bird folk and their aerial style of combat that the Selethar can't replicate, and has, in a sense, forced the Selethar to evolve to such adept acrobatics within tree cover to elevate themselves up to the bird folk. But Kinsalo is better on foot than the bird folk are. So although he has the classic aerial freedom that the bird folk do, he is also an adept warrior on the ground, and there's no weakness there. They can't ground him or bring him low to throw him off balance. And specifically says he is young, so some of you might be better fighters than him right now. But when he grows, he could be a terrible force. And just says, let's hope your efforts to bridge our people go smoothly, because he could easily become a greater terror even than Captain Oro Junequill or High Commander Rillis.
Well, so, good news is
just a note that she gives you. But so he is passionate about bettering himself in martial training. A jovial personality that you've all engaged in, but he takes training very, very seriously. But anyway, we come back to the play. The crowd is packed. How are things going through people's minds? Maybe starting with Jiri, of like, how are you corralling people? All right, guys, we got to get this together, such and such.
Well, I'll start with the title of the play. It is Jaw, Jiri, and the Four Winds, : a ballad. And I'm just, getting everybody together, getting all the like elves that might be helping. I'm sure there is like people like that are part of the theater here, like people that work there.
Yeah,
like
there's staff and troupe members that are like backup artists and performers and such. Sure.
Yeah, I'd probably just get everybody together and just like try to give everybody like a pep talk and be like, yeah, guys, like Jiri is like 100% confident that like this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. So like there's no chink in his armor that you guys can notice. He's just like 100% like confident that like it's gonna be amazing and everybody's gonna love it. So I feel like maybe that attitude is contagious a little bit among some people, but I'm sure maybe others are more nervous about having to like perform in front of a bunch of elves. But like Jiri is definitely in his element and like very excited, very ready to go. And I'm imagining this will be kind of like a free flow thing. So if you have like any ideas for like how to add to like the play, definitely speak up.
I'll take care of the crowd. You guys aren't in control of the crowd, so the crowd is my NPC for this venture effectively. So I guess, how do you guys kick things off? And I also know that, I don't know if this is something MJ intends to do, or Tim, if you intend to do this, you guys are welcome to change around the Spotify playlist at your discretion to suit the musical need for this presentation. But if you don't want to or aren't ready to, that's totally fine too. We'll just keep the kind of Mooncrest theme song in the background. But cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we have any specific music, but I know like Telperion was like in charge of like putting together like musicians or doing the music himself. I can't remember what we said, but I also think that wasn't Roulette gonna make him like an electric
lyre?
A lyre.
Oh, that's right. To some degree.
Can that be part of the whole like time? Because like Roulette also had to do like all the pyrotechnics and like like.
I will say even at the most basic, I will have given you some object. I don't know if it's in the shape of a lyre, but it's probably just mostly metal that I just like bent. But there will be like 4 specific button-looking things on it, and they will be tuned to whatever noise you want. So you get 4 noises, basically like a toddler's little piano thing. And all you have to do is you tap one, it makes a noise. You tap another, it makes a noise. You tap them whenever you want, and it will make some noise. But I think, so the way that the spell works is the tapping one is an auditory message. So each of the noises is Roulette's best impression at noise.
Oh my god.
Otherwise it continues. So it's just going to be like, literally that. So it's just Roulette making noises. But then I'm sure I could have like taken some metal wire and stretched it out to give you other like basic notes.
I also would have tested this beforehand, so like I don't think I'll click a button not knowing what it's gonna do, so it's not gonna be disharmonious or anything.
Perfect.
I know Rome was in charge of like the scenery. So Rome, did you like grow any plants here for like the stage? Or
I like grew a set that's in a semicircle to like kind of frame the stage.
Oh,
overgrowth and stuff like kind of over the like where the curtains would be. That's kind of like overgrowth and vines and stuff that sort of like framed the setting. But she plans to like change the set as the play goes on.
Yeah, for the different terrains. One of them is lava themed, so I'm not sure how you're gonna grow lava plants. Lots of reds, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we have fire snap seeds.
Yeah, you do have seeds. Yes, that's true.
What do those do?
Those turn into a flower that erupts flame in your face when you look into it.
That's cool. You use those.
Yeah, we could use those. I'm sure Roulette gave us like explosives for like that scene too. In particular, I'm sure there's a lot of like explosions. You do like what kind of like explosions can you do, Roulette?
So I have the spell pyrotechnics that I can use up to 2 or 3 times. But I am assuming Roulette would probably have something built out that's like not like a like flash paper, what magicians use, which is just like pieces of paper that burn really fast. So I would have like sprinkled those around the stage, like in a specific spot, so that I could throw a firebolt at it to have it then just like in a line in a specific spot.
I'm imagining you like, you know how they have those like rafters where the lights are, like the scaffolding on top and the backstage, and you're just like at the top there, like.
Oh, I've got like a tech headset on that for no reason whatsoever.
I asked Toby for his torches of continual flame, and I attached them to like a metal bar, and so I can move both simultaneously by just moving the bar instead. So I just like, while the show is like getting ready to start and like the curtains are down, I'm like rotate like telekinetically using Kair to like rotate it and make it go in circles and just like make it look really cool.
There's an invisible flame dancer twirling the thing on stage. Yes.
Perfect. I'm also imagining we could use a continual flame as like a spotlight too, right? Like if we could make like a contraption that like
just like
houses
some sort of cone.
You can make like use lighthouse basics to like mirror shoot the light. Sure.
Oh, I have light, the cantrip, and I'm pretty sure I can attach it to something.
Yeah, you just pick an object.
Touch an object. So I can set up, and each of them last an hour. So they're offset by 59 minutes and 54 seconds. I've got lights in whatever color Jiri has asked me to set the tone for.
That's perfect. We'll need different lights for different like scenery. So like the first scene is in the elf ruins, like one of the first things that we did back in near Forest Hollow. So like lots of greens then maybe when we're in the lava one, it's lots of reds. So that can help with the scenery. Minerva did all the costumes. So like Minerva had to make like a Jiri costume for Shadow Moby.
I was trying to do some music for them.
Yeah, it's a different vibe for the start of a play.
Yeah, hang on. I'm in charge of music. Leave me alone.
I'm gonna make the music quiet for the recording until you find what you're looking for, and then just let me know.
I didn't know there'd be lyrics to that. Sorry.
That's really funny.
Yeah, all the costumes by Minerva. Consola's doing stunts, so maybe Consola's stretching, warming up.
Yep, for sure.
You have Jiri as director. You have Toby has a lot of water mechanics he can do. I can create water and then move it around and do cool stuff with it, and then like get rid of it. I've also got silence ready in case you need to, like all of a sudden everything goes quiet. I can kind of facilitate that. I've also got daylight ready for specific spotlights or full changes of atmosphere. And I think maybe the big one, I don't know if this will help, is I was thinking, Jiri, at the time you got us hyped up, I would ask if I can maybe make Jiri the target of the motivational speech spell.
Ooh. Yeah, basically, Jiri's speech is very short and sweet. Like, guys, we're gonna crush this. Have no fears at all. This is gonna be amazing. Look at all the people. We're gonna be so famous. Everybody's gonna know who the Four Winds are after this. Yeah, I'm curious like what everybody would do for their outfits too, because like everybody has to play like a villain. So like, well, the evil tree is pretty easy for Rome.
It's gonna become more tree-like.
Yeah, and how are you gonna look evil though?
And large.
I have a big piece of black tattered cloth that I'm ready to put over my wings at the time I'm playing Jermorin. And I'll plan to summon them in a diminished way so they're not as bright and don't like shine through and mess up the illusion.
I'm wearing the armor that I wore for most of the campaign so far, back to the Durastian plate, but the one, not the Cormax, because that's like probably not black and red. No, that's black and red. So I'm wearing mine, which has been like blue, silver. And I'll put on a cape. Red cape? That's what the Talons wear?
The Talons are not necessarily designated by their capes, but the Arc-Knight famously was wearing a beautiful crimson cape. But more specifically, the large Vanta Black pauldron that sits on their one-sided shoulder.
Also, I've done black paint on one of them, and it's not really care. Oh, sure. And then I'll have my sword, but I've like put cloth around the base so you can't see the opal.
Perfect.
Roulette will be altar selfing, and very specifically for Jadra Carr, because don't really know what he looks like. I'm just going to, if you imagine, take a picture of Jiri and you just put it like through a negative filter. I'm just going to try and invert myself to whatever the opposite color is of Jiri, but then cartoonishly inflate myself to a slightly larger, grotesquely beefy form. I'm picturing red
Beautiful.
skin and black hair.
Amazing. And with that, with preparations sort of set, I mean, you guys can kind of take it from here for the play starting.
Hold on, we didn't hear from Minerva and Consalo. They both Consalo's playing the Mad Wolf and Minerva's playing Morgren. So I'm curious.
That's true. Minerva has very classic kind of powders she can apply to her face to make her face look paler in alignment with Morgan, and with a snap of her fingers and some minor arcane casting can turn her hair into the icy blue appearance of Morgan. So she's able to accomplish that rather well. Consalo for the Mad Wolf. Do you still have the wolf mask?
Ooh.
I feel like he would have taken that with him.
I think Jax did take it.
Jax did take it, but would he have left it?
Yeah, then I think we would have it.
I think Jiri in his preparations might have found it, amongst his things.
So yeah, I give that Jiri gives that to Consalo and be like, yeah, this is exactly what you should wear.
Perfect. He wears that, and otherwise Jax the Mad Wolf is a little easier for a standard humanoid. He will fold his wings back and almost like someone like kind of wearing, what are they called, like a corset that kind of keeps you all in. He's binding his wings back into and then throwing a cloak over it so that he looked more humanoid, actually rather drow-esque now with the elven ears and no wings. So
Jiri will suggest that he wears like fur to like make himself look more wolf-like and be like, yeah, that's exactly what the Mad Wolf looked like. He was really hairy.
Man, I wish I got to see this guy.
You don't. He was real mean.
That's the magic of theater.
Yes.
So yeah, the narrator Toby would like start the play,
and notably, I will be more charismatic than usual. I will enhance my ability and use borrowed knowledge for performance. And I will have cast tongues to give this kind of weird, like ominous, like everyone understands him, but what is he saying sort of thing to the narration.
Amazing.
And so the parts he'll be narrating are like the beginning, like, okay, this is a tale about Jiri and the Four Winds, and like just kind of giving an overview of like who's the main cast and like what the story is about. And then like the sub narrator is like is Jiri playing Audros the Stormbender. And so I can read through kind of like the first scene. I wrote this down like a real long time ago. This was like what I was originally going to have read to the bard we met in where was that?
It was probably in Forest Hollow during the little Heart of Hearthfire festival that you were talking to.
Yeah.
So this is what I wrote down to tell him the tale of what we had just done. So like there's 7 of these. The first one is with us in that temple when we fought the dryad, but I'll just read through. It's not too long. And so then this would be Jiri as Adras. So there they were, facing a 20-foot tall evil tree that breathed fire. And then Rome would like and breathe fire. Maybe
all of the lights on the stage would turn to a
like,
glow of orange. Yeah.
A fire breather behind Rome. Rome's in a thing, and like a supporter takes a dip of some gas, and it looks like Rome's breathing fire.
It opened its mouth to speak, and in a spooky, scary voice it said, as Rome, I'll say it though, I will stop you, Jajiri, Jarl of Jalan, for you will go no further today, for today I steal your soul. Telperion. Yeah, like crowd gasp. Telperion, the mighty of House Loonsong, gave the creature no time to continue its evil enchanting monologue and charged forward, wielding his 9-foot-long greatsword made of green metal and starlight, and cleaved the evil tree in two. And so this would be like
Prince.
Yeah. Wait. I guess this would be like Shadow Movie now, like running up like.
It's a paper mache sword that's 10 feet long.
And then Rome, you'd have to like crack in half somehow. Like.
I'll like have my like limbs start to detach, but like very quickly behind the scenes we'll regrow them back.
But the foe wasn't bested yet. As it crashed to the ground, it had one last chance to steal Jajiri, Jarl of Jalan's soul. It reached out its twisted, branched arm to cast a final evil spell. But just then, Toby Rama, the wise, sitting atop his magnificent steed, blasted the foul beast with his ultimate and most powerful spell. I don't know. That would be
What's his steed?
Notably at the time was Guiding Bolt.
Guiding Bolt, yeah.
Was it Peony?
Yeah.
Peony, yeah. But like we'd give you a better steed for this. Maybe like an actual like war horse or something. I don't know.
Perfect.
It is said that Toby's magic is so magnificent in its splendor that those that see it no longer appreciate a beautiful sunrise. But the four winds were ready and shielded their eyes. Luckily they did, because the holy magic was too righteous for the evil tree, who howled in pain as it was set ablaze with radiant fire.
I'll use thaumaturgy and amplify the lights.
But still, it wasn't defeated. Sensing a tactical opening, Roulette Tinkerton the Clever swung her machine jet-powered hammer, pinning the evil tree's severed and burning torso to the ground. The hammer was so heavy that the evil tree couldn't escape. But for Roulette, it was nearly weightless due to her vast knowledge of pulleys, gears, wires, tubes, pneumatics, and all manner of mechanical contraptions.
I feel like I made like a King DDD sized hammer for Shadow Mocha to hold.
Soon the evil tree fell still. Jajiri knew the nature of the evil tree and correctly guessed it was playing dead. So he drew Adras the Stormbender. Yeah. Thunder flashed and lightning roared as Jiri summoned his royal galactic enchantments and sortileges. Jiri stabbed the evil tree straight through the heart. It had no chance to play dead now, as its entire body was incinerated with awesome blue neon lightning energy. And thus, Jajiri, Jarl of Jalan, and his jocular crew, the Four Winds, were victorious once again.
One person in the crowd yells out, "But there's more than 4 of you!" And another one yells out, "It looked like Roulette's blow should have probably killed it." But a lot of applause. Telperion, your previous perception check unsuccessful until now, as you have noticed a parting of the crowd as the Aranel and her husband step down into the stands as the play has started.
So yeah, that's like the vibe, and I'm sure Toby as the narrator would eventually explain that yes, indeed, we did gain an additional member eventually, a few additional members to the Four Winds. But yeah, next would be like the Arc Knight, and we'd have to battle Telperion, and then there's the Mad Wolf. We'd fight him. Then Dormoran. Then everybody has the lava worm, so like everybody would get into like this
Yes,
That's right.
The Chinese dragon, like
Yes.
like running around the stage.
Amazing.
Then Minerva. Oh no, wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. Before the lava worm, it's intermission, and that's when Jiri sings like on the stage by himself. That's where he sings "Bitten by the Wolf," like in like the Duran Duran.
Hungry like a
wolf. Like really like cheesy 80s like music video vibe.
Yes.
I'm imagining. Have you ever seen the music video by the band Erasure? It's always.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Where they're in the garden.
Yeah.
With the dragon.
Or like there's some like demon and he's just like
ice ball. Yes.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's like that kind of vibe where it's like really goofy, but like Jerry thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And then it's Lava Worm, then it's Morgren, and then the last battle is against Jadrakar. And the scenery is of Jawland, so like maybe Jiri built like out of wood like clouds that like get brought on stage and
like
whatnot.
On ropes that like go across.
And everybody's like flying in the air in this one, and we're fighting like Roulette as Jadrakar as a big cloud.
For just because I have the spell and I want to use it, I would have like made Toby like flash the lights in a certain way to obscure this, but I would have like jumped on stage really quick in the dark and cast rope trick to climb into my little portal like 25-30 feet in the air, pulled the rope in, and then I will step out, and as Jadrakar, the inverse evil of Jajiri, I will feather fall and give my evil villain monologue as I float gently down to the stage.
I like go backstage and I like fly up and hurl my lightning javelin to the ground, so people just see a bolt of lightning as you do this.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's the final like boss battle, and then it ends with like.
Oh well, and Morgan was Minerva was Morgan, and I gave her Morgan's coat prior to this as a gift, which I should have done an RP. But anyway, so she has her actual coat.
I saw it in the wardrobe rack. I didn't pick it.
Yeah. Anything you want to do for the Arc Knight, Telperion? Like, is there any way that you would like act him?
I do my best voice of the Arc Knight, and I used lots of Kair to like make the wing or make the cape flutter dramatically, and I look really stoic, and I do my best intimidation check to be really startling and scary.
And this in the same way that Rome had a backup voice actor for the fire. When he does his roar thing, I will do my daunting roar in the background.
Oh.
Amazing.
Targeting everyone except Telperion, because I think I can pick that. I gotta double check.
Even the first row of people seems very startled by that because they're probably within the radius. Perfect. Well, yeah, unless there's anything else, I do want to have a check be made toward the end of this, but keep going.
I definitely use my Boots of Blaze too, and I cast this when I started on to like look really like fiery, nervous, scary.
Toby, like as we're nearing the end, but during the intermission, Toby would have, after Jiri's song, pulled Jiri aside and said, "I think at the end of this would be a great time to bestow our new members their rings."
Oh, that's a really good idea. You should tell that plan to Roulette and Telperion.
And I will do so. And as the play winds down, Toby will, continue to be narrating. And such was the story of the Forsaken Winds.
Oh, it was never a number. It was a shortening of the word for.
What started as a meager crew of 4 unlikely friends has blossomed into so much more. And as seen through the events of tonight's display, we would formally invite into our number these three who have been so integral to our story. And Roulette would have to
Kinsala looks around confused.
telepathically get Alfie out there.
I'll have Alfie come out and do in the weirdest mechanical way possible a like curtsy bow as an ostrich. And I'll have him just stick out like a random little appendage, and I will, Alfie, you've always been here, but you are officially a standalone part of your own sort of the Four Winds. And I will put the ring on his little appendage thing and watch it go back in, and the cover goes over it.
Perfect. The crowd's loving it all. Lots of applause. Alfie! Alfie!
His wings
What is that thing? I don't know, but it's cool.
And then I'll fly in from wherever I'm at and telepathically ask Kinsala to hold out a hand, whichever one he wants.
Yeah.
And then I'll put the bone ring on his ring finger on that hand.
He blushes.
And then I will gesture for Rome to come forward. And as I approach her with the ring, I will say, wisdom is such a rare thing to find these days. Yours has been no small thing that we appreciate in the time we've known you.
Rome bows her head and she extends her like finger out like as a long vine.
Oh my god!
To put the ring on.
Notably, Toby's like, "Oh, yep, that's okay. Call me off guard."
Horrific, and I love it.
Perfect. The crowd erupts once again.
Amazing.
And if that's the completion of effectively the play, I would like everyone contributed, but I would like Jiri specifically to make a performance check with advantage.
Super advantage.
30. Let's see. Ooh. 24.
He says ooh to 20.
I don't know about you, but they're never paying for a drink in their lives while they're at the Canopies Winery when I'm there. Yeah, me too. Drinks on us tonight. Like, people are just calling out, and mechanically, you will never have to pay for refreshment in this city.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
And Toby, as you know, the cast comes out and makes their bow. Toby will thank
big bow.
Aranel and her family for making an appearance, specifically, and call to an end
You see Mathros with a sling is still forcing himself to clap, and the Aranel does give you a gentle acknowledgement of a bow after your words.
A parting pyrotechnics very quickly on top of the stage, and that's it.
And as the pyrotechnics go out, all the lights go out, all the fancy things, and it quickly becomes dull and unassuming.
Forsaken Winds. Forsaken Winds. Forsaken Winds. There's an encore being called for here.
Jesus.
Jerry's ready for this, and he comes out and he does another song and dance that he prepared encore.
Everyone is erupting at this very confident display by Jiri, but clearly not a part of the play, so they're just eating it up.
It's just Jiri doing the Thriller dance.
Yeah.
Amazing. And with that, unless there's anything else, the play will complete. You're welcome to have a night of festivities and drinking and people buying you rounds, and we can get into any RP conversations if you're interested in them. Kinsala is exceedingly grateful for being welcomed as an honorary member of the Forsaken Winds. But otherwise, nothing will prevent the evening from closing after this downtime having been spent in Athenian.
I think before they go, like after Jerry's thing and like right as people are kind of starting to go, I'll come out, and at this point like I've taken off the breastplate, so it's just like a tunic, and I have the, like I'm still like half wearing the stuff that was like I got the greaves on and all that, but I put my crown back on and I have Rolette's cape back on, and I fly out this like my last flight or what have you, and I just address the crowd and my parents there, and I say, truly thank you all for attending today, for opening your hearts and arms to our guests. This is truly magical, and we appreciate not only your time and attention, but the love you've shown us, and we hope to honor you with many joys to come this evening and on other nights. And I'll like bow and leave because I'm very uncomfortable in the spotlight like that.
You hear a lot of "Good to have you back, Prince," and just an uproar of applause.
I think it's safe to say that Toby is spent on spells from performing.
Same.
Well, that's awkward because Durast has just invaded.
Phase 2 of the Emerald Assault.
But yeah, what's that? Oh, take back control music.
Yeah, you're welcome to it. I can drop the last song.
Yeah, I'll just throw it back on Praxis.
Got you.
As you guys start winding down for the night, please interrupt me if there's anything specifically you want to tackle. But Tenufail will pull you aside when you return to Nightlamp Palace that night, Telperion, and just say, I cannot emphasize enough how good it is to have you back. And yet I understand that you need to venture south to return Kinsalo to his people. And I'm eager to hear how that goes. As though I have no reason to distrust the word of the Beast King, it is unquestionably hairier to allow you to walk into the birdfolk territory. However, on your way, we have received word from House Allspring. They will entertain an audience with you and your guests if you pass through Tiarlin on your journey south. Though Chiron does not see visitors or accept them into his home, his niece is the sort of house steward there. Her name is Irene. She will be willing to let you into the house. If that is tomorrow, so be it. If it is in a couple days' time, they might be willing to be flexible. I hope you will say goodbye before you all set out again. But Chiron's audience, not only is it rare, this might be the last audience he holds with someone not his niece. He should be on track to reach his 1,000th year in no more than a month's time. So, I hope you take advantage of this opportunity.
Nothing would induce me to squander it. I have
Hold on a second. Wait, you got to remember that you're drunk now, Telperion, right? We just went out partying with the whole crew.
Yeah, make a con save real quick.
Yeah. Present yourself in this scenario.
20.
With a 20, like, you're holding your booze. She can smell the taste of mead and ale on your breath, but you're holding it.
Nothing, and I hiccup, would induce me to pass up that opportunity. Do you have any advice? I would love to ask him about Crescent Nights. He obviously knows a lot about that, and it's of no small concern to me. But also, I would like to ask him about what we spoke of. If any moon elf, could have, any Ithawinge could have gone to aid the Alelo. He may know is there anything else I should be mindful to ask as potentially the last other Ethelwinge to speak with him? Anything I might be missing?
I appreciate the consideration for utilizing your own audience with him to help facilitate the requests of others, but I suggest you make this as personal to your own intentions as possible. You will not find another opportunity, I fear, to speak with Chiron. I do not wish for your sake for it to become a laundry list of items you're trying to gather information for other Ithelwinge. Just speak truly, speak honorably. Certainly bring up anything we have discussed in the past if it is of curiosity to you. I imagine at this stage of his life, so close to fading away, he has more clear access to his past lives than he likely would have had ever before. So perhaps that may make available additional knowledge. This could be a rare opportunity to gain real understanding of something you wish.
Wow. Thank you for the words of advice. That'll be handy as I prepare for the meeting. And I'll be sharing it with Rome as well, so I can give her some tips as well.
Very well.
I give her a hug and say thank you for coming. It was very meaningful to have you there.
It was an experience I am glad to have added to my life's journey.
And then I go to bed, go to trance.
Perfect. Anything anyone wants to do before kind of settling down for bed this night?
I'll snag Minerva, and I just want to say, I want to have that deeper conversation on spell stuff over breakfast, let's say, before we head out.
We should do that. I'll stay here in Nightlamp Palace for the night. No need to venture back to the ruins. At some point, we should determine a name for that location. Anyway, yes, I will be in the banquet hall come morning. Just look for me.
Jiri will find Talpirion's dad, and is he at the festivities? Is he getting drunk?
Yes, he's probably not downing ales, but he's standing off to the corner with a couple of his sort of attendants / soldiers he's close to, and sharing stories and even playing some dice games occasionally and stuff. But he's drinking, not getting too rowdy. But
Jiri will corner him and drunkenly ask him questions about how to be a good king and like looking for advice, you know what I mean, in that regard.
How to be a good king? Well, I am not one myself, so it's hard to weigh in on that subject, but patience is, in my opinion, prudent beyond all others, considering options before moving on them. Not so patient that it dissuades any action at all, but considering multiple viewpoints before acting on instinct is almost always well advised. Now here, you're not holding an ale. Here's mine.
Jerry's too busy drinking.
I love him getting this advice when he's that drunk. If anyone else has something, they could go first. I've done a lot of RP tonight, so I feel bad, but I have one last thing I do before bed.
Toby would have, late into the night, just pulled Roulette aside, or not even pulled her aside, but just approached her and made sure that, he noticed how well she had, dollied up herself tonight, and that she looked radiant and quite beautiful, and hope she didn't feel too out of her comfort zone.
Roulette is rarely ever at a loss for words. She's she her face matches her hair, almost, at the blush. Profusely thanks you, compliments the narration and everything, and quickly diffuses the situation by saying, "This isn't even my dress. This is Minerva's. She let me borrow it. I don't know if it fits me well," and mumbles, and yeah.
That is just not something Toby would have not noticed.
What's Rome doing as they celebrate?
Does Rome get drunk?
Yeah, Rome grows some pipeweed off her shoulder and passes that around.
Fuck yeah.
Incredible.
She like kind of like lounges and like creates like a lounge area like by growing more like vines to create seats so that like people can come and sit with her.
Love it. And many of your sort of disciple followers make an effort to try and get your attention, but many people are flocking to you as a rather unique being in this space. So you definitely have no shortage of attention.
We definitely also divvy up the hat, the tip hat that we put out on the edge of the stage.
Yes. Oh my god.
Which I feel like the 24 performance check.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable request. Am I going to honor this? Am I feeling like a merciful god?
Time and resources went into this play.
Go ahead. You're absolutely right. And that's like a carousing downtime activity. It should reap some reward. Go ahead and roll. I'm going to ask a question. You rolled for performance for a thing. I would like everyone else to please roll a performance check.
Ooh.
I notably had done Bard Knowledge, so I'll add 3 to mine.
I will do the same for Kinsalo.
So do I.
And Minerva.
Yikes.
I'm just going to give Minerva a +2, but I don't quite remember if that's real or not.
Rome.
Okay,
She's
okay,
proficient in
Minerva.
performance crit. I'll tell you what it is.
Okay, so it's a little higher than what I had rolled for her.
No, she's still up on a minute.
All right, so 18.
Oh, she
Toby.
passes. She passes. 18 for Toby,
Yeah,
18 for Telperion. High for Minerva. Rome. We're not saying your performance is bad. It's just not going to add to the amount going on here. So 3 people, 1, 2, 3. It looks like 3 people succeeded on this check that aren't Jiri, who had his own separate roll. So go ahead, Jiri, now. Roll 3 D100.
Yes.
I imagine there's going to be silver.
You get 113 gold out of the ordeal.
Yay!
That's
And I
awesome.
split it between
Divided
the
by 5,
five.
that's gonna be 23, let's call it. I will take 22.
I'll also take 22, so it's lower.
That puts me over 3K.
No way.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, damn.
I'm at 29 or 2,934.
I'm at 18.
And out of curiosity, because I don't think I took this note down, Telperion, when you pursued your commission with the Nightfall Forge, did you pay for any partial or all of it at that time? You had not paid yet. Okay, got it. They had told you the price tag, yes?
12-ish?
12-ish is correct. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I think they said on completion. So, and I was going to go sell the plate armor to subsidize.
Yeah, you're not a rando having a thing commissioned, so they don't need to charge half at commission and half on completion. They trust you enough to come through with it. So perfect. That's that. Anything else before bed? Yeah, you said you wanted to have one more conversation.
Where's Kinsalo been sleeping?
If general room arrangements were kept to kind of where you guys had been separated, where 3 of you were in that room and 3 of you in that room, I think it was you, Kinsalo, and Rome in one room. So he would have been sleeping in like a makeshift bed or another room off of the kind of antechamber of your space in Nightlamp Palace.
Okay. I'm gonna find Kinsalo somewhere and ask him to tell him I want to show him a room of the palace he hasn't seen yet. And say there's this really cool balcony up at the top near the peak of the palace that shows a really cool view. And with everyone out partying this night, Athenian will be bursting with light.
Sounds pretty good. You and I have seen some pretty good lightscapes, so I'm interested to see how this will compare.
That's what I was thinking of. This should have more stars though than the last. Yeah. So
well, lead the way.
So I'll lead him up. And I'm like, kind of just like babbling a little bit, like asking him like how he thought the performance went. And then I guess I will ask him like a more serious question of, so with the idea of returning tomorrow, I'm curious, what has been one of your lasting memories with the Four Winds, who've done a lot together?
Yeah, it's hard to pick a highlight since I've known you guys for like 2 weeks. We've been through an insane amount. I mean, on some of the more solemn notes, taking vengeance out on that witch, you guys helped me get closure for my slain allies. And then I'm wildly relieved to see the growth in Jiri, as well as all of you, and the understanding that those were people we met in the Fae, just because they're lichens doesn't have anything to do with their sort of moral code and whether or not they're a good person. So that was exciting to see, just in terms of my connection with the were-creatures of Chimeras, friends that I have. Galathor was pretty wild. And your people, out of everything I've been through with you all, your people, the Mooncrest Elves, have been perhaps the most delightful surprise, because they're not anything like I painted them to be in my mind. And I had a suspicion that might be the case when I met you. But I'm glad they proved you to be an example of them and not an exception. It's so easy to put my own experience in one way here, to view it one way, as obviously our people should not be fighting. It's another matter entirely to convince cultures to lift each other up and not see the differences between themselves. But I think it's somewhat safe to say I will die on that hill now. I will fight that war until my final breath. You have shown me that. All of you have. All of us. I'm a Forsaken Wind now too.
You are. Jerry's good at bringing in people like that.
Yes.
I've been delighted as well as you. When you saw how nervous I was when we entered, well, I don't know if I showed it or not, but I was very nervous to bring you all, and I wanted to assure you of your safety, but I didn't know if arms would be as wide open as tonight proved them to be. So, I mean, another thing we have to thank Jiri for. And the past week has just been, comparatively to how our journey has gone, so easy and pleasing. And I wish tonight need not end. But it will. And I just wanted to give you something before it did. And like I'm not really good at making eye contact with him at this moment. And I take out the piece I had commissioned, and I show him a silver chain necklace, which, as you described in your communication with me, it's this like very elegant silver chain. And then at the bottom of the chain, it meets braid, very tightly woven hair, my hair braided together into like a cord that's been like lightly, brushed. And at the cord holds a medallion, a very small medallion, with powdered diamond in the shape of a crescent moon, holding like cupping the bigger diamond that I gave the Emmerich. And I say, well, is it weird that hair is an important part of my people and our culture? It is. I put hair on those that have passed that I care about, and I've had one of my braids, a good friend, cut it off for me. And I had this commission for you, and I thought I'd give it to you. Toby gave me the diamonds, and I want you to have it because I don't know when I'll see you again. And you can wear it as a bracelet, you can wear it as a necklace, it's up to you. And yeah, something to remember us more than just the ring.
Kinsalo isn't quite sure how to read your lack of eye contact, the sort of nervousness of how you're presenting this, but it kind of melts away as he gratefully accepts. This is a beautiful necklace. I will proudly wear this in honor of your people's welcome, our friends' welcome, and specifically yours. I appreciate the hair as sort of a cultural representation of something meaningful to you. Something that's significantly cultural to the bird folk is physical affection. They can't kiss as normal people do. They have beaks. So they hold each other. They bed together and nuzzle into warmth. I have something they don't. Could I kiss you?
I didn't need to read your mind to know that's what you were getting at. And we don't have to go into it, but I'll kiss him back. I'll give him our first kiss.
Very, very cool. And so upon a starlit balcony high up in Nightlamp Palace, you share a kiss, and we will call it there for the night unless there is anything else people want to do before morning comes. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, morning will in fact come. Off the top of my head, my brain is fogging on me. I think it's Morndas, the fourth of Evening Star. This is, in theory, unless you guys want to alter the timeline in some way, in theory, the day you will be preparing to venture south to potentially take a mirror beneath Mirelight Estate to House Tiaralin's home city of Shademirk, not far to the south, but a fair 2 days journey to the south that you'll be stepping through in but a moment. Breakfast is made available to you all at the banquet hall. Minerva's eager to talk with you, Roulette, on various spellcrafting theory. We can RP through that if you're interested. Otherwise, we can text about it. Is there anything anyone wants to do specifically that morning before potentially saying goodbye to the Moonset Grove for a little while?
I guess I would just want to clear up if there was any indication of a date or an intended, how soon this moot was implied to be, and also if, I think you said I had some messages out to Queen Elia, if she thought she might be able to make it to that.
there was very clear indication that Elia would not be there. To some degree, Elia has been in clear degree has been the least communicative in the sort of communication effort. Perhaps she's not trusting of circumstances. Perhaps she's merely focused on other things right now, but it would seem very clear that in no way would she make it south to the Emerald Forest from wherever she currently resides.
And then between the elves and the beast folk, was there a vague idea of timeline of that?
As soon as reasonably possible, understanding that could be in several days' time, a week's time, more than that. So no date has been etched into stone at this time, but the effort is eager.
Gotcha. Cool.
One thing I'm interested in is just like on our way out of town, going by the clothier place and snagging a cloak of elven kind.
I was about to ask that as well. What were boots
They
running?
were 500, I believe.
500, and are they attunement based?
No.
I think I would like to pick up a pair as well. Or a pair.
I have these numbers somewhere here.
The cloak was 350 and the boots were 500. You told me roughly, if you want to confirm that, obviously.
I am interested in confirming.
Unless there's obviously some discount for the stars of last night's play, but you know.
Me and Toby, the least likely to negotiate, go in.
Toby's not going to negotiate, but Michael is going to offer that idea.
I take Jirian. I say, Jiri, give me your cloak.
The discount is the amount of money you earned from the play. But let me, I think, did I just send this to you via text, MJ? Or I thought I had this in my inventory here. That surprises me.
Asking for a discount would be rude. I have to be nice now.
Oh,
is that
turning a new leaf?
Honestly, I won't talk you out of that. But also, in my home, it might be rude. But if we're like trying to like take care of ourselves in a foreign country and the shopkeeper's not that nice, maybe it's not rude to do it then. What do you think?
Okay, only against evil shopkeepers.
Okay.
And Mirage, because I've got a really good prank plan for Mirage. It's gonna be great. Just wait.
Oh, yeah, Mirage. I'm excited to spend some coin at Mirage. We can also do the money part later.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we get the money part squared away so people can say, yes, I'm okay with that before just saying, oh, you all buy them and we'll deduct gold from you later.
500 to 1,000
that could affect,
is a big difference in whether I will commit to it or not.
Right, exactly. That one is that. Those ones are. I agree with the previous text. Boots of Elven Kind are 350. Cloak of Elven Kind is 500.
You switched that, I think.
Oh, did I switch it?
Verbally.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. The one that requires attunement is cheaper. The boots have the same benefit, but don't require attunement and therefore more expensive. Yes. Cloak, 350. Boots, 500.
I will take away 500 to acquire that.
The boots. Toby Rama buying boots.
Yes.
Telperion buying boots.
No, I buy the cloak.
Oh, cloak. Okay, because Toby wanted boots. But so boots 500, cloak 350. Cool.
Thank you.
How rich are we? How much gold does everybody have?
1,100.
That put me down to 1,300. And 1,000 of that is put away, so I effectively have 300 gold.
I have 2,500.
MJ or MK, I think you paid half at Mirage. I might want to double check that, but I think you paid half.
I was intending to pick up something from Kenneloft that I'd put 50 gold down on. It was a Ring of Misdirection.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Another 500.
You asked them to hold it for you. Yep, you're right.
Which I might need to revisit if that is still something I want to commit to, but...
Rillat, can I pay you for fixing the bottle?
Only give me 25. we'll go halvesies on it. It's a little pet project. I will add 25 to my.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, unless there's any final items, this might be a good point to kind of end the session at, as when we pick back up, we'll essentially be journeying south through the mirrors, potentially speaking with some individuals at the Shade Merc, and then continuing further south toward Kilodine.
Did my mom want to goodbye now or at that beginning of next session?
Next session works.
Goodbye. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that then.
Cool.
Critter, we could text about the spell detail stuff. No need to.
I figured that would be a good opportunity. You and Minerva chat during breakfast, but cool. Awesome. Well, if that'll do it, that's where we'll end this session and pick things up from there.
Sweet.
A little bit of adventuring coming back after some good downtime.
That was a very fun session.
It was very full.
Yeah.
Read a lot.
Nice work on everyone's downtime pursuits. The
Wonderful
play was super awesome.
Rome continues to impress me with your, like, how you think of creative ways to just be nature-y. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it. She's like a really fun, definitely my favorite character that I've come up with, for sure.
She is super dope. And I have grand plans.
That's a really good question. And I don't think it's a bad thing to say no. Is this everyone's favorite character, the one they're playing for this campaign? Because Toperian's my favorite character I've ever played.
I haven't played too many.
But I mean, also, like, we're all getting better as we play more. And, like, I think I've grown a lot since I started. Like, Felix didn't have a lot of personality compared to, like, the flaws and strengths I've given Toperian. So it's hard to...
Same.
Yeah.
Same with Lindis, yeah.
Currently, yeah, definitely. I think my favorite right now. I still feel like I have some nostalgic characters, but I think Jiri, like, is ultimately going to be my favorite.
I almost feel differently because it's my second D&D character I've played, and this is, like, the one that I thought out a lot more. It obviously is my favorite. I am continuing as we play this session and hearing from each of you, thinking about how I can make a better character, which I don't think takes away at all from my enjoyment and appreciation of what I've done with Toby. But I expect Toby will not be my favorite D&D character.
Critter, kill Toby.
That's a great comment to hear. I love that. But yeah, you're
mean
enjoying it and loving it now. Yeah.
Stay around, please.
Yeah.
MK said he's ready for a new.
Ready to die.
Bro,
yeah. If you
what are you talking about?
If you fully die and can't be brought back,
that's
I mean, you're
for me to put in.
No, I'm just saying, Grave Cleric of Kellenvor, there's like meaning to that in a way that, like,
you hear
there
that, guys?
would
I
be.
can't die.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. And wouldn't bring back Toby from the life, but he would potentially still, there would be consequences and circumstances that came from that.
Come back as another intelligence character. Then if we all die, we should all be just
the intelligence campaign.
Yeah.
And then finally, when all 5 of you have it,
we can buy.
Here's a book of Here's a book of intellect. Fight for it.
Bunch of nerds.
I can't even say I'll fight Roulette for it if we ever pass it up, because it's just her core stat.
You'll lose. What?
Yeah. I actually don't think I'd beat any of you in a 1v1. You guys are all so strong.
I do think we're like still.
I would love to
close.
do 1v1s. I would love to do 1v1s. That would be so much fun. But it wouldn't be fun for everyone at the table, but it would be like, hey, Thursday's coming up. You and you want to do a 1v1? Like, that would be so much fun.
God.
You have to, like, one person gets a bye in the first round, the other 2 people have to fight and then move on.
We would do rollies. Whoever rolls the highest gets a bye.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to do another battle royale at some point involving Rome. Finally,
did we do that at level 5?
You did it at level 5, and I have it in mind to do it around level 10, but I don't know. I might wait for a good story beat before level
I'll roll
priority.
my D100, get less than a 10 or whatever, and get divine intervention. Just win.
Rome, our party.
Divine intervention is subject to DM
Yeah.
judgment.
Our party is so much stealthier now than it used to be, and you get to lead the charge on that, Rome.
And your expertise in that, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your number for your stealth check?
+8.
+8. I'm still only a +1, but now I'm not at disadvantage. I'm at advantage sometimes if I put.
That's crazy. You went so quickly from disadvantage to advantage. Not just canceling them out, but
it's not something I'll wear. It's not something I'm gonna wear often because I'll have to switch. I was really intentional about the choice because I was like, the boots or the cloak. I literally have a boot and cloak situation. The cloak is something I can trade. I'll trade out more because losing the spell for Estrada on Stride is worse than the 5 feet. And so the cloak made sense and was cheaper. So anyway, on certain days, I will say at the beginning of the day, I'm going to switch to this or something because I'm just going to try to make guesses on days where I'll want to be stealthier.
I will be texting probably, I intend to at least a good bit this week to at least us players for ideas of moving forward, because it seems like we've got pretty clearly get Consalo home while doing some stuff in Shademerk. I know Rome and Telperion want to talk to him, but after that, I think it becomes subject to, where we think we want to go, because this is the point where it kind of opens up. So I want to get a list going of what we want to do, what we weigh as needs to be taken care of sooner rather than later, type of stuff.
On the top of one of those documents that Mike sent out, I forget which one it is, probably the item thing, I put together a short list of items we've acquired of short-term options. So MK, if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Those were because we have group.
The right-hand side.
Oh.
The long-term stuff.
Oh, very cool.
There you go.
No, I did this.
Oh, nice.
Word.
Cool. Yeah, I would definitely appreciate you guys chatting with each other about decision making on that front, especially because I have clear things I can prepare for next session, but as you guys give me more direction on what you want to do, it helps me prepare more efficiently.
Absolutely.
So
I can put Telperion. Oh, yeah, okay.